we are on the site of the castle.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Look at that. Absolutely fascinating. That's what you do. You buy these players that cost money and make a difference in it. But we never do that.
Never complains, gets up, gets on with a smile on his face.
You just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative. Regurgitating the same old, every single day without this. If you haven't seen it before, please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Stallone. Good evening, my fellow Reds. Tomorrow, I've just seen this. Look at this. I'll tell you something in a minute. And it's you, Chef. Demolished an oil club. Let's destroy the other one tomorrow. We'll look like zebras. 3-0 Liverpool. I'm going. Great that. I was shopping today with Francie. She took me out shopping. I was in the supermarket. And there was a fella, as I was coming out, there was a fella out, you know, one of those, like, tills. I always go to the ones that serve because they're losing their jobs. So I'll make it a principle of mine to go to those, you know. Anyway, just to make sure that people are working, you know what I mean? Because I don't believe in all this, you know, there's loads of jobs that go because of these bloody tills. Well, that's another matter anyway. So anyway, as I was walking past, pushing the trolley, there was a fella and he was standing there and he had this, you know, like a top on. It was a football shirt. There was a top on and I just seen the black and white stripes and I went, "They're going to stuff you tomorrow." You know, as I was walking past that, Francine went, "Dad, he's a Juve supporter." I went, I had to apologise. I had to walk back. Mi scusi. Juve, Calcio, sorry, you know. Anyway, he just looked at me and started laughing. He said, "I hope you win anyway." I said, "Oh, thanks, lads." I've got off. You know, it just shows you to us. Bloody Juve supporter in Sainsbury's. Incredible. As we should beat them tomorrow, they've been poorly lately. Yes. Paul Turner, that's Edward said there. Paul Turner, "Hey, Frank, hope you're okay." Idiotic comment from the City keeper after the game. I don't know what he said. I haven't a clue what he said. Ortega's not walked his dogs in Moss Side clean. Anyway, I know that there's terrible things going on. You know, chants. Our Francine told me today, she said there was chants, you know, Dad. I said, well, I'm bringing this great man on here, George Scott. He's a great man. I can't wait to see his face, you know. Hiya, George.
Hiya, Frank. Hiya, lads, boys and girls, chat. What a great time to be a Liverpool fan, Frank, eh? What a great time to beat the champions of Europe, to beat the champions of England and not concede a goal. Tell you what, I've watched Liverpool like you from about 1960, and that's the loudest I've ever heard Anfield, including by the game, to be honest. That was unbelievable. To be in the cup, which I was there. To see that atmosphere, Frank, you know, it was just mind-blowing. Whole place was bouncing the whole second half. It was incredible.
I was thinking about that. You know, when you said you were there with your grandsons, when
Yeah,
the
Tippy
second
Anson's one other side. And when that first goal went in, we got submerged in a sea of bodies.
I was just thinking about you, and I thought,
Oh,
I'd be absolutely delighted.
it was wonderful,
Absolutely.
wonderful. Anybody that was there will not forget it in a hurry.
No, I'm bringing Sean on now, and there's our mate. Look, see his face. Look at it. Father Christmas there.
Hi, Sean.
How are you?
Brilliant.
Well, that was
Brilliant.
that was some game, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I was just saying,
incredible.
unbelievable.
We could have
Absolutely.
stuffed them. I think that that scoreline was a little bit flattering.
Of course.
I
Yeah,
think it was a bit flattering. I think we could have stuffed them.
Yeah, we gave him a football lesson, no question about it.
Should have done. I tell you what, lads. I had I came on right on, to do the podcast on my own. Felt sorry for myself because George was at the game getting drunk, after the game with his grandsons. You were there having a hangover from your Christmas party.
I wish I was, George. I actually didn't end up going to the Christmas do. I was actually crippled in bed. I went, got the haircut, went and did my vote on Friday, and my back was crippled. I had a car accident there a few years back, and sometimes it gives me a lot of trouble. And with the sort of dancing that I usually do on the dance floor, my hips and back certainly would not have allowed me. So I ended up not going. And after the result of the general election in Ireland, I don't think I would have been in any mood for anybody.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
It just shows you what politics does for you, doesn't it, really? But anyway, you're with us tonight. I hope you're in a better mood after Sunday.
Sunday was
the last thing in my mind, politics. I was absolutely engrossed in what was going on the green turf of Anfield. It was incredible.
That's it. I've said this loads of times, George. Honestly, I have. Liverpool under Thatcher in the 80s was dreadful. We could have all gone into apathy. Both Everton and Liverpool supporters, by the way, the whole of the population of Liverpool. And what saved us, I've always said this, was football.
Football,
every
absolutely.
weekend. That gave us our pride back. It was great. So, falling into apathy, we didn't. We fought on, just like the team.
Yeah. But that's it. That's it. I mean, football does that. I mean, it's the great escape. And that's what these owners and the owners of all of the Premiership clubs need to realise when it comes to the tickets, that football without fans is nothing, But it was fantastic to watch. You were there, George, weren't you?
I was in the cup, yeah.
Oh,
it was. I was saying to Frank before you came on. It was all the years I watched Liverpool. That was the noisiest I've ever had Anfield. Honestly, you had to be there to believe it. When that goal went in, I know the second half when we were after Salah scored. I mean, it was non-stop, alley, non-stop.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was brilliant. Even in here, it was absolutely wonderful. Thing I was just sitting on my own and watching that. It was after the the Real Madrid game. It put everybody on a high, and we knew that something was going to happen. We really knew. I did anyway. That something was going to happen, and I predicted a 2-0 win.
I predicted that 2-0 last week. Yeah, I said that.
I agreed with you. With you. If you remember. Point is, George, what both of you, what's your take on? I've just got to go on this, by the way, because someone asked me, "Did you know what Ortega said after the game?"
I heard that. Yeah,
and someone told Ortega, the City keeper, that Liverpool is a bad place in the UK. See
was
what I
a
mean? What we have to go through.
They might want to check Manchester because Manchester is an absolute kip. So I don't know what they're
I know
talking
that.
about.
I know
But
that.
Liverpool.
I mean, the crowd, the Liverpool crowd was shouting, "You're getting sacked in the morning." That was banter. It
Of course
was
it
banter.
was.
It wasn't said with any viciousness, to be honest. And I think Pep realised that. He had a little twinkle in his eye and he gave the
You
sixth
left
sign.
them. Yeah, you left it. Well,
You
the
know,
sixth guy on Twitter and things like that. It was funny because when he was putting up the sixer, and someone said, "Isn't it great that Pep's acknowledging our 6 European cups?"
Yeah, exactly, Frank. Yeah, I seen that idiot Simon Jordan on TalkSport. He was on about Liverpool having the most ungracious fans in the world. They can't give you any credit at all, you know.
No.
Man City had injuries; they got them at a bad time. That program, honest to God, we never get any praise. But he's
that's
the worst.
typical
He's the
talk.
worst.
Didn't we have any injuries?
But that's typical talk sport, George and Frank. You know that. I mean, look at who they have, for God's sake. I mean, didn't one of them make a comment about Hillsborough and Heysel? And then you've got Jason Cundy, who, well, I know what I'd call him, but and it wouldn't be Cundy, but he's a horrible character. I mean, he's just so bitter. And Simon, I mean, he's just a failed Premier League owner. So, I mean, you know, even Chris Eubank, you know, told him off. Now, I wouldn't be a big fan of Chris Eubank either, but I don't. Sometimes TalkSport is all right. I remember Dean Saunders been on it. Danny Murphy.
Yeah, Alan Brazil's all right.
I'm not too fond of the rest of them, to be honest with you. They're very.
I don't listen. I'm being honest. I don't listen to any of them.
Yeah. No, I've seen it on YouTube. I've seen it somebody posted it on YouTube. That interview with Simon Jordan. I thought it was really poor. You know, there's a few of them, as Sean said. There's a few of them there. And that Troy Deeney as well, he said, Mo Salah's not world class. Well, if he's not world class, I'll tell you what, I doesn't put Troy Deeney in a very favourable light when he played.
Well, I was listening to good enough like today, Mark Goldridge, you know, on YouTube. And when Mo Salah passed the ball to Cody, you know, to score, he said about the Prince pass over to Mo.
Yeah, he did. I watched that, Frank. Yeah.
And what he says, you know, that ball by, you know, if he's not, why hasn't he won any Ballon d'Ors, you know? And this is a Man United.
He's a Man United fan, but he's very balanced. He's very fair in his comments.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
And so I was made up. He said that, you know, the ball, because I said it after the game, that ball by Mo. It was he seemed to, I don't know what he seemed to do, but it bent around, if you know what I mean. It went around the goalkeeper and then to Cody.
Fabulous.
You know, it was incredible. That particular ball. But the ball, unfortunately, the ball to Salah from Trent, you know, wasn't hardly mentioned, and that was an unbelievable ball.
Well, 50 yards right in his path. Perfect.
Landed on on his toe.
Sorry, what's he say, Sean?
No, I'm just saying landed on his toe. I mean, it could not have been the perfect pace, the perfect height. You know, it was incredible. The one thing I just want to just refer back to with Man City, there was apparently, and there's no apparently about it. I had seen footage of it. There was issue with the coach going into Anfield. And that they were pelted by, I don't know, fans. I don't know what they were throwing at it, but there was some horrible shit actually said in the coach about Liverpool and being, you know, this
happens when we play them every time. They have the fans line up right down Anfield Road, about 20 deep either side, and they throw flares up and everything. It's called passion. But I agree, they shouldn't throw things. Throw things. But the passion is, you don't see that at any other club, Sean.
No, you don't.
You go to Man City, you don't see anybody welcoming the team. It's like a desert. But Liverpool is all about passion. That's why we're successful as supporters and as a team and as a club.
Well, even it goes back to the Shanks, doesn't it? When he said, "They do it for you," when he was on St George's Hall.
Yes.
And this is the passion of our fans. I was down there when we won the FA Cup when he came back, and they were on the town hall balcony, and I was I was somewhere in that crowd in Castle Street. It was incredible. They're the fans. I always praise our fans. You've only got to, when they're away, you can hear them. They've been. I know a bunch of lads who I wish I could go with them. I wish I was able, but they go everywhere, George. Every
I know a lot of people like
Europe, every away game in the Premiership, every home game. These are unbelievable lads. There's one lad, Steve Metcalf, and he was on my show once. He was on this, and for 40 years he put a post up. He said, "I can't go," and it was at Anfield. The game, forget it was against. He was getting married. He should have fell on.
That usually stops you going to a match, all right.
Well, I won't tell you what happened, but
in
the end, what goes down there? What goes on? Can I just read a few comments from these lovely lads, and Dad detected it. Hello, everyone. AKM, your lot. Evening, lads. Evening, Adam, mate. Apparently, says the lads and Dad, apparently we have Accrington Stanley in the FA Cup. Who were they? Do you ever remember that advertisement? Accrington Stanley.
Yeah, remember that kid.
Love that
kid.
Yeah. And he says, I think we'll get a few of the kids playing in that round.
Yeah.
Martin Quanser, the usual Ione. I'd agree there. Rally Danus from Romania. Evening. Good evening, mate. That first half was unreal, says Edward. Youssef says, Liverpool versus Accrington Stanley, the Milk Derby. Yeah, the Milk Derby. Anfield Raw, Anfield. Like George, I was there in the King Kenny, joins in with the joke and sacked in the morning singing. George, you testify like me, slot tactically, outsmarted. Pep.
Oh, completely.
He did. He looked very depressed.
He did. But
he sat for about half an hour in the dugout by himself before the game, for about 3/4 of an hour. Just sat there on his own. Something going on there.
Had problems. I think especially. I noticed the top of his head. He had marks on his head.
Yeah, frustration, scratching his head. That's bad news. Bad news.
It is, especially if.
Frank, they're losing their pace. That Walker is not the player he was. They're not getting to the ball like they used to.
He's
people
desperate.
People like De Bruyne is now coming to the end, and he needs a big reset there, I think. Grealish comes in around. The only guy that looked half decent for the last 20 minutes was Doku.
Yeah.
He gave a bit of trouble to Trent a little bit there, but he didn't. No end product, but he was very tricky. But apart from that, they had nothing.
Nothing at all. We just swallowed them up.
Haaland was non-existent.
Haaland, I was going to just say that Haaland was absolutely, he was just this big loaf of a guy just running around like a headless chicken. And not
Van Dijk had him in his pocket the whole game.
Oh, I mean,
he was tremendous. Van Dijk.
But the highlight of the game for me, guys, was when we were doing our defensive duties, and I think it was Virgil who had kicked it out and went for a corner, and then Nunes comes flying in and tackles it and pushes, and he's like, "Come on!" like this.
That was brilliant.
That was great to see, and I think Nunes is really. I think he's improved since getting on the pitch and getting his opportunity. I think he's done very well.
I love him.
Well,
I love him.
I'll tell you who my man of the match was, and I've watched it a couple of times since, the game, because when you're watching the game, let's be honest, live, I'm like that. You know what I mean? Like that, and when they get a call or when they're on the attack, sounds off and everything, and I'm like that. Anyway, that's me. I can't get behind the couch because it's up against the wall now. So. The thing is, I when I was more relaxed, I said after the game on the pod, the post match, that Szoboszlai was man of the match.
I was going to say, I knew you'd say that. To me, he was a man of the match.
Thank you, because when I watched it a couple of times more, he was superb, that lad.
Tremendous, yeah.
He was everywhere. Mate, what did you think of his performance then, George?
I thought he covered every blade of grass. He showed high skill, high energy. He was in everything. He was back defending, right back sometimes, and he was creating attacks. They were all brilliant, but I thought he was outstanding. I mean, once or twice this season we've said, he maybe needs to just back up a bit. But he showed his true class, I thought, against City. He rose above. He played really, really well. I thought they all played well. I mean, Robertson, I thought was great. He was passion he showed, and that ball he put through for Gakpo, he could have scored there. Keeper just got in front of him. Yeah, I agree. Frank was like for me
when he hit that ball, Robertson when he hit that ball, that was a flu in there. But is it one of our players, didn't it? No, it isn't. I don't know who it is anyway, but that was a flu in there. And you could see Robertson in the last 3 games. You see the determination.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's been looking at some social comments. Robbo's lost it. He's really not the same player. But you can see the determination back in his face. And
he was really up for it. He was really up for it, wasn't he? Really up for it. See him shove his fists were pumping and everything. I was disappointed Salah missed that chance when he went through the second half. He should bury them. 9 times out of 10, that was in the corner, wasn't it?
I thought he should have put it through his legs, but it's all right for us saying this, isn't it? We're not on top of the goalkeeper, but I would have put it through his legs.
Imagine the pressure on Salah with that penalty after missing the last one, knowing how important it was to the game and to the league championship. I mean, the way he stuck that in the corner was amazing. Brilliant. Did you see
him though before the penalty? Not a bother. Just keeping up. Not a bother him. Then Haaland, playing his little mind games as he usually does. And Salah just completely tuned in to what he was going to do.
Yeah, amazing. It was brilliant.
I tell you, though, when he did score, give Haaland his due. Him and Mo were having a little bit of a banter, weren't they? And they were laughing, which was nice. It was nice, that they were there. And even Haaland and the other fella, Big Veg, they were having a banter as well.
Yeah.
And I thought that was good. I really thought that was good. There was no bitterness, just like what Edward says. Bitter man, that Jordan. Bitter man. And Norman's just popped in and said, just on Pep, does he not remember when they beat us 4-1 and he ran up to our subs and threw his arms in the air?
That's in front of Robbo. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was shocking, that, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
And the Anfield says, Edward, very true that Ortega has sealed his dooms around the city. Also, Ruben Diaz lost the talking to Jan Ing. That defeat brought them arrogant City players down a peg or two.
They've always been arrogant. I mean, if you remember them singing when they won the league and they were talking about our fans being beaten on the street and always the victim and all of that. And they said that they didn't know what the song was about. They knew damn well what the song was about. They were singing about Sean Cox, who's lucky to be alive, and an absolute disgrace. Yeah. So, I mean, Pep would just want to remember that and just shut his mouth, keep scratching his head.
The one that annoys me the most is the little silver.
Oh, he's a little.
He's a right little arrogant.
Banana Silva, yeah.
He's the only one who never applauded our team when we won the league. Remember?
Yeah.
God of
Yeah,
Honor.
he didn't. No, that's it. That was him, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, never forget that.
No, that was horrible.
Silva, yeah.
Jeez.
Well, as Haaland said to Arsenal, be humble.
Yeah.
Be humble.
The Anfield Roasters, TalkSport never condemned them comments by Ortega. Jordan looked at Martin O'Neill, another Liverpoolator, and basically laughed at each other and made some comments about Wolverhampton as well. It's shocking when they start bringing, being personal on cities. Shocking. That includes everybody. That includes the citizens.
Yeah, you're right,
I don't think we've ever been to Liverpool. I really don't. I'd love to take them around and show them Liverpool. I really would. I'm trying to tell them the history of Liverpool. That's what I would
open their eyes, Frank, if he did that. That would open their eyes, I'll tell you.
But I don't think that would even. I don't think it even mattered to them, because I think they're going to feel. They're going to say or feel how they feel regardless. Most of these ignoramuses, talk a load of pony anyway, just because of their hate and their bitterness towards the club. They don't know the first thing about the city or the people.
No.
So it's just ignorance on their part.
I tell you who asked me to, they asked somebody to get hold of me to take them around, and that was before he died. That was Robin Gibb. And I didn't know that Robin Gibb was a fanatic historian. And he said, I believe that I was in Auto.
Wow.
And he said, I believe Liverpool has some fantastic history, and you're the man, to tell me about it. I said, yes, we'll took him around. And he brought me for lunch and everything. And he said it was amazing. He said, why haven't I heard this before? Why haven't I heard anything like this before about your wonderful, beautiful city?
Wow.
I just went like that.
Oh.
I just went like that. I don't know, it's not. I said, you've only got to look at the history books and the television when they're doing documentaries about the war. Liverpool hardly gets mentioned, yet we were the most bombed city outside London. Most bombed city.
Down
I said,
mentioned.
And I mentioned about the Civil War as well. I said the defeat. I said after the Liverpool siege of Liverpool Castle by the Royalists, I said they had to go to Marston Moor, which was pivotal for the defeat, really, of Charles I, because he took off to Scotland and he surrendered himself to the Scots. I said, that never gets mentioned ever. I said, and I don't know why they do it. I just don't know why. And it's shocking, I know, you see, and it's like these ignoramuses. It's like these ignoramuses. And even as Norman says there, it's hard for City fans to replicate an atmosphere or passion, especially with one man and his dog. And it's just...
But I think, Frank, the decent thing for them to have done when they were being interviewed, whether it was the goalkeeper or Guardiola or anybody, is to say, we're a great team, Man City. We've won 6 trophies, but today we were beaten by the better team. We accept we were beaten by the better team, but we'll be back. That would have been enough. Without all these controversial things about Liverpool and the other guys saying, well, you're talking to somebody who knows how to win trophies. We know how to win trophies. We won 6 European Cups, for good's sake.
It's incredible.
We know how to win it without the bottomless pit of money that they have, and how they've broken I love Arne Slot's comment there today. Oh my God!
Oh yeah, that was great, wasn't it? Really good.
That was hilarious. I love that guy. Absolutely.
What was it? What was it? What did he say?
So it was regarding Mo talking about
Mo's contract. He said, Mo's contract, what he said was, this might be my last game against City. All he meant was they might not be in the Premier League next year. And then he had to come and say, I was only joking. It's a joke.
I was only joking. Yeah.
I'm going to read you something here, boys. Francis sent me Can I read you that?
Yeah.
Francine,
Sure.
and it's a picture of our owner. Don't get carried away on this. And she said, "You're daily reminder that FSG are happy to pay a baseball player, I can't believe this, 700 million while not offering Mo Salah a new contract."
Francine.
That's unreal.
Francine.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal. It sums it up, doesn't it?
I think I spoke to Francine once when I was trying
She's
to
lovely,
organise
Francine. Yeah, she's great.
a protest. But these are our owners, and I mean, this is what they do, and we're still talking about them every year, about contracts and players and lack of investment. I don't think it'll ever change with them.
I think Mo looks a bit worried to me at the moment. He's effervescent on the pitch, but you see shots of him walking on the pitch. He seems a bit. He's not smiling too much, is he? Just at the moment, when he's just. I noticed some shots at the end. He's walking along. He seems to have. Maybe it's affecting him a bit off the pitch. Certainly not affecting him on the pitch.
Do you think maybe perhaps he's kind of thinking, well, that might be the last game in Anfield against Man City?
Yeah, you don't know what's going on in his mind at the moment.
Because I know Simon Hughes had put something out in The Athletic saying that Liverpool are looking to give him a 1-year contract, a 1-year extension to his contract, which to me doesn't make any sense.
No.
I think that what Simon Hughes was saying, that Salah would be happy with a 1-year contract. And I don't believe that to be true. I think that, as Frank says, is an appeasement for the fans. I think that is all communicated from the club to The Athletic to basically say, we tried to offer him a contract and he turned it down. I think Salah wants a 3-year contract. There's no way that he'd be kicking up a fuss as much as he is over a 1-year extension. And how does that benefit the club? Because at this time next year, we're going to be in the same
be back in the same position again. Yeah, I think it's got to be at least a 2-year contract with a year option.
Yeah. Daryl was saying that PSG are in talks with Mo. I think that someone has come out from PSG to say that that's not true.
He's not going to go there. Why would he go there? They're struggling at the moment. They're not really in the hunt at the moment, PSG.
It's what it is. I know they're like little stories, that are getting bounced about. It's like any sort. No matter what journalism is, I don't trust journalism.
No, I don't.
So in any profession, whether it's football, whether it's about the country, whether it's, I just don't trust them anymore.
No.
Anyway, the likes of the Anfield Roar, he says, "Hey, you're spot on about this club's passion." Oh, Pep is only jealous because their fans will never be as passionate or as loud as us. Only Celtic, Rangers, Turkish fans can compete with our noise.
Correct. Correct.
And he's right there.
He's right. On there,
I wouldn't even mind, but there was Barcelona fans at in the away section of Anley Road. There was the very few Man City fans.
Yeah. No, I mean, even the home games, Sean. I look at a lot of blue empty seats in the home games.
Oh, it's shocking. It's shocking.
When the camera pans across, you can see them scattered around. It's not a full house, the Etihad.
No. And then they're building an extension. I mean, what's that going to be for more empty seats?
Won't need that in the Championship.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like even watching some of the clips there of them celebrating winning the Premier League or the Champions League. It was like Frank is laughing at that comment.
Can you read that out, Sean. Read it out.
So Anfield Roar says, "I see you, George, on the cop, lad. I said to my mates, look at that fella in the white flared suit, medallion on his chest. That's one of them fellas from the bad knees."
He's a
He
cracking
sends
man,
you
isn't
all
he?
pints
Oh,
and
it's
scotches and everything there, George. He sends you loads of chases.
Cheers, Norman. Thanks very much.
The bad knees.
I had 2 young lads supporting me, my grandsons.
The bad knees brigades. That's us, that.
That's
That is
us,
us. Look at it. He's got a John collar on for Sean.
Me?
What's that around your neck?
That's a hoodie.
Oh, it's a hoodie. I thought you had.
Yeah.
I thought you had anyway. Darryl
Jeez,
says, no, I'm sorry. Darryl says Simon Jordan just doesn't like Liverpool for some reason. A lot of people don't like Liverpool. Talking about history, I'm sorry to do this. I was given a talk about in the concert room in St. George's Hall. And as I was walking along the balcony, there was nobody in there. About 7 people are on the balcony. And as I was walking along, I seen them looking up at something. And as I got there, nearer them, there's 6 fellas and a girl. Excuse me. So anyway, I went, excuse me, I see you looking at something there. They were American, when they opened their mouths. So I explained what that was. And anyway, I said, listen, I said, I've got an hour to spare. I said, I'm just going in here for a sound check. I said, follow me. So, they walked in to this concert room and they were looking at it, looking at it. And anyway, I gave the sound check. So I came out, I said, I'm taking you somewhere. And they thought I was a singer. Just giving a sound check.
You're a singer from the bad knees. Talk about it.
So, to cut a long story short, we were down by in Paradise Street, George. And, that building with the eagle over, John Lewis. I was telling them about that particular building. I said, the very first American ambassador to come out of America during the War of Independence was a lad named James Morey, who was Irish. And they said, well, you know about Liverpool. Get over there. So anyway, they were, he didn't want to come over. He said, I want to stay here. So anyway, he came over, stayed for 41 years in Liverpool. I said, and that building there, and honest to God, I saved it. And I saved the eagle. They were going to knock it down when they was, when they was doing Liverpool 1. I said, don't do that. I explained, because I was the historical consultant for them. So I saved it. And I found out who this girl was. She had a big floppy hat on. Them hats, a big floppy hat, this bandana going right around her. And big sunglasses. And who it was Gloria Estefan.
No.
Singer, yeah, Gloria Estefan, yeah.
And she said, why don't we know about this? Why don't we in America know about this? I said, well, your education system is all about the weather in your local area. And that's it.
Yeah, I know.
That's what your education is. So, but she was made up. She was a lovely girl, by the way. She was a lovely girl, and the lads as well. They couldn't believe what I was telling them about America and the American connection, if you know what I mean. And they said, I said, no, I said, I'm an historian. They said, well, what did you get the sound check for? I said, I'm there tomorrow. And they said, oh, we've got to go tonight. We've got a flight from Manchester back to the States. I said, we would have gone for that. We would have gone to that. They thought I was a singer. They said, well, we thought you were a singer.
Well, I think we had a question there by Redbird saying, Shano, I hope Frank is not your lead singer. I think he was trying to say in the bad knees. What would his?
Really? Look,
Kenny Rogers.
I think we're kind of like take that, but the after years. Take that.
Frank and the bad knees. Yeah, great that.
Frank and the bad knees.
Frank and the bad knees, yeah.
Or instead of Frankie goes to Hollywood, Frankie saves the eagle.
No, Frankie goes to Hollywood. Frankie and the bad knees.
Frankie and the bad knees.
I was made up with that because they was just knocked us down.
Yeah.
They was knocked us down. Because, like, when they, during the Civil War, or the War of Independence, sorry, they was saying, look, we've got to send someone out to take care of our interests. We've got to, but they never sent them to Rome or down to London or, anywhere else. Right to Liverpool they sent them to. And it was James Morey. And just imagine that building if it was a collapse and gone, finished. And, something put in its place. The very first American embassy in the world. And it was it. And that's why Gloria and, the other lads said, they were a band, by the way. They said, we should know about things like this.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
I'm reading some of these comments there. I said take that, and Trigger says more like had that.
So what he said?
Had that instead of take that.
Oh, had that, yeah. The Red Bird says, Pep was old enough 6 fingers for our European Cups.
Yeah, that's what we said.
That was great, that, when he's doing that. And I complained, I said, what was he doing all that for? And this is where, 6-time champions.
He probably didn't think about the European Cups because he's never been in the hunt hardly about for once.
You see, Paddy Power added another hand with like this, and it was like 115.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's going to come back to bite them, I think.
Yeah, well, who knows?
I'm just saying that now, look, that Sean, I hope Frank is not your lead singer in the Bad Knees. Not with us, sorry.
He's like the Eminem. He's the Eminem of the band. He does the rapping and things. Redbird.
Don't worry, Redbird. He doesn't swear in front of old people.
Gary says, I go to the Florrie twice a week. It looks fantastic now. I'm glad they saved that. But yeah, I was down there.
Florrie, yeah.
They just got money, believe it or not, off the Queen. The Queen sold it to them. I think for, buttons. She said, build it up. Anyway, they got funding and everything. And there was a massive plaque. And it was about a football team, George. You'd like this. It's a juxtaposition by saying liking and deep sympathy, because it was the Florrie. This is the First Wales War. It was the Florrie football team, and they were like cousins. They were mates. There was a couple of brothers, all on this plaque, and. On the 1st of July 1916, first Battle of Ypres, they were all killed.
Wow!
All killed, George.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at people getting killed. It's
no.
It's the chat here. They're on a mad one tonight.
But they have every right to be after the last 2 results.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Daryl is after saying. Des Lynam and the 2 Ronnies.
Thanks, Darryl. What's he on?
Instead of take that, take fat.
It could be the 3 Stooges.
he was listening to me. The other night about Elizabeth I, the Red Bird. And he says, I heard Frankie Boy was Elizabeth I's secret lover. Because I've always said, I still say it now, I don't care.
Well, I had coffee with Elizabeth Taylor, not Elizabeth I.
Oh, did you?
Wow.
In the Ritz Hotel in Paris, yeah, in 1988. Yeah. In fact, I had twice once in Paris and once back in London. A year later, I was responsible for marketing her perfume, and I had to take our sales team down there to meet her.
So in the flesh, George, was she
in the flesh? Yeah. She came in. You interested in this, Frank? I sat down, had a chat with her for about only 5 minutes, and then just as she was leaving, there was a knock on the door, and one of the staff came in with a silver tray and an envelope on it. And she opened the envelope and she said to the gentleman, "Of course I'll see him." And anyway, this gentleman came in with a dinner suit and like curly hair. It was Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger, who was in Paris conducting the negotiations for the nuclear disarmament treaty with the Russians. And he said, "What brings you to Paris, Elizabeth?" And she said, "Well, these wonderful gentlemen are selling my perfume, and I've just come to thank them." So there was me, a working class lad from Aberdeen, sitting in a bloody hotel in Paris.
Kissinger.
I thought I'd died and gone to heaven.
You know him though. I know all about Kissinger, but that's another thing. But
she was lovely. She was really lovely.
And Elizabeth Taylor. Did you know that Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, they couldn't live with each other, but they died loving each other.
Yes.
Loved each other that much.
Yes.
And Elizabeth said, "I want to be buried. When Richard dies, I want to be buried by him, next to him."
Yeah.
And anyway, Sally Burton, who was Burton's wife, when he died, she said, "No way."
She told me when she's in Cardiff, she shops in Debenhams, but she has to be disguised, obviously. And I said, what brings you to Cardiff? That was part of my area that I was responsible for. So I was interested, and she said, "Well, I come into Cardiff to go up and see Hilda in the valleys." And I said, "Sorry, I don't know who's Hilda." Richard's sister, Hilda Burton. She lived in the valleys, and she used to come and visit her. So that was a little bit of interest in things, wonderful.
No, that's fabulous. I love things like that, George.
Yeah.
You want to write a book, George? Have you ever thought about writing a book?
Actually, Frank, that's in the book.
Is it? I've never seen it.
You probably only read the part about my football career, but the second half of the book is to do with my business career and that,
But I'll tell you what, that's absolutely fabulous now.
Well, I'll tell you what, I never knew. I was driving down the motorway, and in those days we had a pager. We didn't have a mobile phone. And the pager went off and it said, "Whatever you're doing, stop, go home, pack. You're meeting Elizabeth Taylor in Paris tomorrow." And I thought it was a wind-up. I thought it was the lads on the team taking the mickey, But it was true. That was it. Next day I was off to Paris and we got to meet her. Wonderful. She was on the Parkinson's show that night.
How diverse can you be in your life, George? Meeting Shanker, who signs you, meeting Elizabeth Taylor, and kissing you.
Right.
She gave me a beautiful black and white photograph signed. Yeah. Thanks so much for all your hard work, George. Elizabeth Taylor.
Have you still got that? Yeah.
Yeah. I've still got it. Yeah. Still got it.
Oh, George, that's just fantastic. I'll swap you.
Yeah. I'd swap you in a heartbeat program.
You will not give him the watch.
I'd rather have Salah's.
Honestly, God, I'm a. Sean will tell you, I'm a poet. I like a lot of poetry, and what's fascinated me about, besides the passion of Liverpool Football Club and Shanks and everybody else, connected with Liverpool, and the lads on here, the girls on here, is love stories. I mean, real life. That's why I mentioned about Burton and Taylor. They're so passionate, you can't. It's like Mark Antony and Cleopatra. It's like the involvement of these people. It's like Keats and his girlfriend. And when Keats, he wrote his last letter, he knew he was dying, and he was in Rome. She was back in London, and he said, "There are two luxuries I have on my walks: your beauty at the hour of my death."
Yeah, wonderful stuff. Yeah.
Oh, this is what I'm. This is what I get all.
Well, she had, when I met Liz Taylor, she had this big brooch on, a big diamond brooch, and it was like as big as my fist, and that was one that Richard Burton had given to her.
Given.
And they weren't together then officially. But as you say, they couldn't live with each other for a long time, but they couldn't live without each other.
Exactly.
I thought that when I looked at that, I found it difficult to get my head round what she'd achieved and what her life had been. You're looking at a person who's been married 8 times, been a legend since she was 12-year-old in Lassie, Cleopatra, all them films. You can't imagine somebody with that life, and her secretary was lovely as well. She was a Chinese girl. And it was like talking to somebody that was, you just couldn't get your head around the person that you were sat next to.
I'd love any. I know I've told you that I've, had a half an hour chat. I had a cup of tea. He had a cup of coffee. Was Clint Eastwood, with him. But I'd just swapped him any time to have a chat with Elizabeth Taylor. Honestly,
yeah.
I'd love that.
It was only a short chat, Frank, but still, it was lovely.
It makes no difference, does it? And Kissinger, I would have loved to have told him a few things, to be honest.
Yeah, Frank, one last thing about that. What he said was, when she said, "I'm here to thank these salespeople, the salesmen that have done such a good job for me," he said, "Yes," he said, "it's a wonderful profession, sales, but I much prefer negotiation." That was what he said.
Well, there you go. And do you know what he said about America? I can't think of the quote now. He said, I'll paraphrase. "It's okay being friendly with America, but they are your enemy."
Well, he was at the top of the government, wasn't he? What was he? He was the. What was his position in? He was
Secretary of State.
Secretary of State for America. That's right. At that time, he was. Yeah, I was 87, 88. Very powerful. Yeah, right up there, wasn't he?
Most
he was
powerful
negotiating with the Russians.
I know they've always hated the Russians, unfortunately, like us, this stupid country, the UK.
Even the Hollywood films that are or the films that are out nowadays, they're still American versus the Russians.
Yeah, no.
I was watching a film that Frank taught me to watch there the other night. Nobody.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it. Yeah.
What you think?
Nobody. Yeah, you said.
Oh, no, I loved it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I won't give away the end.
No, don't, please.
But I will say that there's a song that comes into it, and you're like, no, and
exactly.
It was great. It was great to see Christopher Lloyd in a film as well. I love Christopher Lloyd.
Brilliant.
See, Norman says that.
Norman says Taylor and Burton, Batman and Robin, Bonnie and Clyde, Toshak and Keegan, Jimmy and Jeanette Clanky, great partnerships. Jimmy and Jeanette Clanky.
I think Norm said that I had a poster of Jeanette Clanky on my wall.
Shall we get back to football then?
Yeah.
Right. Sorry about this. But I tell you who is lovely though, that Gloria Estefan. But Robin Gibbs surprised me.
Yeah.
He just loved history, and he was made up at Liverpool history. He said, I don't know anything about this. And even Gloria Estefan said, well, why haven't I known about this embassy?
Yeah, because they don't get taught it at school, that's why.
No, of course. Anyway, Darryl, he says, lads, got to go now. My team for tomorrow: Kelleher, Trent, Gomez, Virgil, Robbo, Szoboszlai, Jones, Gravenberch, Gapco, Nunes, Salah, 2-1 win.
Yeah, very good, Darryl. That's a pretty good team, that.
I'd go with that as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good team. That might be very close to that.
It is, isn't it? You know, you can't like.
Yeah, give Maka a bit of a rest for the first half.
Yeah, well, and don't forget he's out, you know, for the next rounds in the Champions League.
Yeah, yeah.
He's out for that. He's being banned, if you know what I mean, because he got that yellow. But you see things, don't you? You know, during the game, how Liverpool they were everywhere, especially Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai was there. And when Curtis Jones came on,
Yeah, that little interchange of passing on the wing in the last 5 minutes. Brilliant.
Jones has just stepped up a gear completely. He's been really, really good any time that he's been on the pitch for Liverpool. But I mean, again, it was fantastic to see Elliott back as well after so long.
Yes, brilliant. I like him. I love Elliott. He's a good addition now.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think of this? What the Anfield Roar says, boys? Before we start picking our teams and the team for tomorrow and a prediction, the Anfield Roar was reading today that links are increasing for Nico Williams and Jonathan David Williams with a 46 million release clause, and David's on a free. They would be nice additions. For the fact, City will go for Zubamendi.
I'm not too sure about that. Nico Williams, didn't he play? He played for us before.
Yeah,
go, didn't we?
Sold him.
No, I wouldn't go for that.
I don't think it's that Nico Williams. I think it's another Nico Williams.
It must be. Yeah, it must be.
Yeah, it's not that.
I've not heard of Jonathan David Williams. I don't know who he is.
I thought he was talking about Little Britain, David Williams, the comedian. I was like, that would be typical FSG to go for comedian.
No, you got to go for top players.
I've seen that David Williams, you know, in that Little Britain. You see him and he's got a Tesco bag, you know, and he's walking along the high street, pretending to be, the way that, what's his name? Michael Jackson. The Michael Jackson outfit and everything, walking along, going into Tesco, going out to Tesco's. So,
I'll tell you, I think, are you getting confused with
I know who he is. Nico Williams from Bilbao.
Yeah.
Yes, I know him. Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah, he's quite a good player. Yeah, he is a good player.
Very good, actually. He's very good. But I don't know who that Jonathan David Williams is.
I'm not sure we need a striker. I don't know.
No,
it depends. It depends.
We need Zubamendi.
Yeah, he'd be great.
I'd look at an Asio, in Cappy even, in Cappy, not an Asio more, but in Cappy.
I mean, it's hard to see this. It's hard to strengthen a team at the moment, but you need backup for the injuries,
We've got to replenish.
Yeah, you've got to.
I don't know whether you'd agree with me here, but, in the second half, albeit that we smothered whatever they had, we smothered them. But I think we was conserving energy.
Yeah, keeping possession. Yeah.
I think we were conserving energy.
That's what we're good at the moment, holding on to the ball.
That's been said a couple of times, though, this season, that we're conserving energy. And I think, if that keeps us away from getting injuries, then I'm all for it. But, I mean, the second half, it was certainly a game of two halves. They had obviously more possession in the second half, but they didn't really look threatening at all.
One shot on target, Sean.
Yeah, we looked like well able for them.
No, that's what I said. We smothered them, Sean.
Yeah.
We just smothered them. No matter what. The first half.
That first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, their goalkeeper was standing on the ball. He didn't know what to do with it because we were pressing so quickly. They couldn't get out of the box.
No.
Yeah.
No. And even when we got a penalty and the gamesmanship out of them, And Mo Salah, just keep doing keepy uppies. That
Brilliant.
was incredible.
Yeah.
It's much to say,
I don't know what they were complaining about. It was a cast down penalty.
You're not bothering me, but he was in there. Listen, they were thinking that they were going to go 2-0 down.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. And that was worrying. And then bang.
Then they count their lucky blessings that it wasn't more than 2-0. Because with the way we played in the first half especially, we could have been 3 or 4 up, and it would have been
game over. Absolutely.
We were all over them, and what they had in the second half, they just couldn't break us down. And it's testament to what Sloot is doing, and especially our defense. Our defense has been immaculate. Even with the injury problems with Karaoke and now Bradley.
I thought Gomez was excellent.
Yeah, I love Gomez. I don't want Gomez to leave this season. I don't want Gomez to leave, but I think he will.
No, I was glad he brought Kwanzaa on as well, because that gave the lad a bit of confidence coming on.
Yeah. But Joe Gomez, just think about it, how long he's been out. Because Kwanzaa was ahead of him, centre half. And then when Karaoke, and bang, he was so he was third in the pecking order, and he came in. He was.
You never noticed that Karaoke wasn't there. It's seamless.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying, George.
Next to Virgil, yeah.
He was unbelievable. He was unbelievable. Which I think, it's. We can't afford to let him go. We can't afford to let him go.
Gomez.
Hope Trent locks Anthony Gordon out of the game tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Virgil locks down Isaac if he's playing. And he carries on by saying, is Trent going to play the full 90 or is he going to come up for Kwanzaa?
I think he did the right thing bringing Trent off, because he's been out injured for a few weeks in a big game on tomorrow. It was a good decision to bring him. He didn't look too bothered, did he? Trent, he looked quite happy to come off this time.
Oh yeah, he was no moaning. I think he was told. He must have been told, George. Listen, I'm going to take you off at some point.
Yeah, Slot said that in his interview. I took him off to keep his energy for Wednesday.
Yeah. So he must have been told beforehand, and he must have agreed, obviously.
I like the way he's using his substitutes. As good as he even give Harvey Elliott a few minutes,
Yeah. And he just ran everywhere in. It was only for a few minutes, but when he chased down the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Just think. But having said that, we'd still need to buy someone in the January window next month. Yeah. That's all. It's next month. And I hope it's that Zuba. I just hope it's Zubamendi. The Anfield says, was reading today also Croatian Suka Gais and Rika Scrotum.
Rika Scrotum?
Fuck off. I'm sorry, George, to swear.
That's not right, surely.
No,
it's
oh,
that's brilliant. I love these guys.
That's shocking, that. You're getting banned here.
I actually did that in a show when we were talking about Slobosly, and I got someone to basically do what you did, and it has to be one of my many achievements. It wasn't quite up there with Elizabeth Taylor or Henry Kissinger.
You have to wipe that one off.
But it was well done, Anfield Roar.
Well, Jason, to get the edited now.
Yusuf says, would you keep the same 11 for tomorrow, bearing in mind we've got the Merseyside derby on at the weekend? George?
I would probably leave McAllister out and put Jones in. Give McAllister a rest. A big game Saturday. Bring him on later in the game, Apart from that, I think Dell's team was quite a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
It was. I think Nunes, he's been. Did you see him when he just missed that header? Oh, that shot, whatever it was, I forget. When that lad kicked it off the line, I forget what it was, and he was like that on the floor to the crowd.
Yeah,
he might do well there, Nunes, mightn't he, after what he did last time? He scored 2 great goals, didn't he?
Yes, 2 fantastic goals, and that's what he can do.
He's a threat when he comes on. Absolutely, yeah.
I feel sorry for him, when he misses those, because it's not that he. Someone said, I forget who it was. Was it you, George? I'm not quite too sure. But someone said, you've got to look at there, Darwin. He's a natural to get in the places to miss these chances. No one else does. He's there.
Yes, yeah.
And sometimes he puts them away, He scored some great goals, and this is what people forget.
The problem Arne's got is who to leave out up front, because Gakpo's playing great, Diaz is playing great, Jota's not even in the mix yet, Nunes is playing great. So it's hard to decide who to start.
Well, Nunes loves a game against the Geordies.
Yeah, I think I'd probably put him in.
Yeah.
I don't think Diaz was like I don't think he had a particularly fantastic game at his standards as a number 9, but I think, possibly put Nunes in and let him work his magic.
Yeah, but the likes of Lucho, he worried the defences.
He's so quick, isn't he?
Yeah,
because he was there. He was like a little terrier, at them. He was like a little terrier.
Where he got that penalty, he was quick.
Yes. Nunes loves the game. Listen to this fella. Sorry, Frankie, them names are hard to spell.
Yeah, they're hard to read out as well.
Hard to read out as well.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay. Say like your forwards, George. Who was your forwards be interesting for tomorrow?
To start off, definitely, obviously, Salah. And I would say Salah, Nunes, and Gakpo. And I'd bring Diaz on.
Would you go along with that, Sean? Nunes, Salah, Gakpo.
Well, I mean, who am I to argue with Mr. George Scott there?
No, it's all about opinions.
No, I would definitely agree with you on that one. I would definitely have that because, I mean, Gakpo, I think, has been phenomenal this season. And it is very tough between... it's very tough. Here we go. You see, now what you've started...
Henry VIII.
Yeah, this is gone. I'm going to be on a diet next week now. Exactly, yeah.
Go the king.
Going to Burger King and get a crown for me.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, Jesus, I was hoping they'd forget about that.
I remember that guy, David Lammy. Somebody asked David Lammy on Mastermind who came after Henry VIII. He said Henry VII. It's the foreign secretary.
The foreign secretary of this country, hasn't it?
Henry VII.
Lammy.
Oh my God.
But yeah, in answering your question, Frank, I would go with what George says there. I like Gakpo on the wing, and it'd be nice to maybe give Diaz a bit of a break for the weekend game.
Callum agrees with us. Callum agrees with us.
Okay. Because Callum says Keller, Ethren, Kwanzaa, Van Dijk, Gomez, Gravenberch, Jones, Elliott, Gakpo, Nunes, Salah. Okay. I'll be asking you in a moment, after these comments for all your midfield. Don't say nothing now, okay? Because that Callum there, especially with Elliot, Youssef, we've got such a plethora. Yeah, we're going all posh now. We've got such a plethora of talent up front. Hard to call which front three we'll play week in, week out. And Steve Snape says Darwin's problems in front of goal, I believe, are psychological. I base that observation on his lack of critical, clinical thinking. If ever he slows his heart rate down enough to compose himself, watch him score a hat-trick.
Yeah, Snapey, that's a good point.
It is, because
very insightful.
Our Francine said to me, only a couple of weeks ago, and she said, "You know what, Dad, we're not playing that well, but we're winning." She said, "Wait till we move into top gear."
Well, we did on the other
We
day.
will be unstoppable. And look at what's happened with Madrid and City. I think that, she was spot on.
They've got to keep that level up. Got to keep it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Callum says a very short turnaround. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And IBR says Gapco is cooking at the moment.
Yeah, he is. Looking good.
And then we can bring in Robbo, Szoboszlai, and Maka and Diaz. That's for against Everton.
Yeah.
And the IBR is thing. That's Callum saying that. He's good, Callum. He's only a young lad. He's good.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
19.
My grandson's name, Callum.
Is it?
Yeah.
Callum.
Oldest grandson.
And IBR says Kelleher, Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, Costas.
He's injured.
Enzo, Jones, Szoboszlai, Gakpo, Nunes, Salah.
Well, Costas is injured, so he can't play. He's on crutches.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Oh,
I don't think he'll play Endo.
Does anybody ever watch, George? Did you ever watch that Inside Anfield on YouTube? Or
I watched it this morning.
Did you see that little kid?
Fantastic.
Did you see that little kid? And you see...
Yes. Trent took... Van Dijk took him on. Yeah.
Wasn't he beautiful?
Fabulous.
And, when someone mentions Virgil, even like that, he's just standing there. Like, yeah!
Yeah.
And it was Semikas, wasn't it? He was talking to him.
Yes. Virgil took him on the pitch, didn't he? And he carried him on the pitch and let him play with the ball. And he was annoyed, Virgil, because when they tossed the coin up, he wasn't actually at the toss. He was just walking. He put the child down and he was walking towards the referee and they tossed up. And the City guy obviously called and they lost the toss and they turned him round, so they played against the cup first.
Yeah. Why would that Pratt Walker kick into the Anfield Road end first? Why is that?
Because Liverpool always do it the other way around. So it's a little psychology. Thinks it might make a difference. I think it's silly because it meant he wasn't kicking towards his own fans.
Into his own fans. Yeah. Into his own fans. But anyway,
it didn't matter, did it?
No, it didn't matter. But anyway, where's he gone? He's taking the dogs out for the war. So that Kelleher, Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, Costas, Endo. So Costas is out. So we've got to have. Well, he's got to be there, hasn't he? Robertson.
Yeah, I think Robbo will play. I'm pretty sure he'll play.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And Youssef says, when are we expecting Jota back? Well, according to Sloot, it's this month sometime.
Yeah.
And the other fella's training, isn't he? And this is the problem we've got with
ribs. He broke his ribs, didn't he? So it takes a while to come back from that.
I would ease ease Jota back in. I wouldn't throw him in straight away.
No.
You need to be careful at that, because that's not an injury that you can just get up and do cartwheels after.
No.
I mean, these are going to be tough games now. Everton will be a physical game.
Yeah. You certainly don't want Jota coming into that.
And IBR says, he's talking to Yusuf, we can't afford to have two injury-prone forwards players like Jota and Chiesa. No, you're right, but listen, I'm not being funny when I say this, IBR, about Jota. You know, that fella fell on him full force and damaged his ribs. So that wasn't an injury as, playing, if you know what I mean. You know, that was so unfortunate.
Yeah,
that was come on like a sack of bricks, to be honest. And it's so sad. I just felt so sorry for the lad. You never walk alone, family. Hey, lads, how's it going?
Very good, thank you. Very good.
Very good, thank you, yeah.
Google says 5th for Jota, but I don't know. Says Callum. He must have Googled when is he fit, so the 5th of next month. Jota can score goals.
Oh yeah.
He's a natural finisher.
One of the best finishers there at the club, other than Salah.
It's good to know he's in the background, because it'll be like signing a new player when he comes fit again.
Or don't go saying that.
You never walk alone, family. Well, you never walk alone, family. So I had a dream last night. We signed Zubimendi in the summer with Endo leaving.
That's a good dream.
Yeah.
Hope it comes through. It comes through. I really do.
You have to wait until the summer, though.
No. Go on. What was you saying, Sean?
We have to wait until the summer, though.
We can't afford to, because, when we were going after the quad, we've seen our lads flagging. Then the injuries, that was it.
That's the worry, isn't it? That's the worry.
I mean, the Premier League and the fixtures, and obviously now with the new format of the Champions League, it's not forgiven. And when you have a small squad like what we have now, I think it's smaller than Arsenal's squad, and they've got a small enough squad. You need to have a bit of meat in the squad, and you need to have quality as well. It's not just down to quantity; it's also down to quality. And if I don't know who said it there. I think Carragher said it. We're 1 or 2 injuries away from absolute disaster, and when you say that about a club, then you know that you're in trouble. You know that you have to get some substance in. So it's just a case of, is Richard Hughes actually going to do something or not? I don't know.
We'll hopefully find out shortly. Not too long to wait.
You see, look, we know that Konate is injured. I'll put it this way. What if it would have been Virgil? Would that have made a difference?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There you go. Yeah. And it's terrible. It's just, what if Mo was injured? What was that?
It'd be huge, yeah.
Exactly. So they're pivotal to the team. They are pivotal. Now, you can say about Ali. Ali, to me, is still the best goalkeeper in the world. Right? To me, he is. Right. But we've got a number 2 that's his equal.
We're lucky with him. Yeah, very lucky.
Incredible goalkeeper. Then we've got young Bradley, who's slotted in.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So we're lucky in that respect. We are lucky. Yeah. Now, young Bradley's injured.
That's right.
But Gomez can play. Sorry, George.
I was going to say, the buzzards are circling overhead now. The media, they'll any excuse to put a little bit of a needle in Liverpool's balloon. You know, you can see it all the time. I mean, Arteta's making his statements. Liverpool's got to falter sometimes. They're going to falter. They can't keep this up. Then you get the press coming in saying, oh, well, they want a close race, you see. They want a close race. They don't want Liverpool to go 12, 15 points ahead. They want Arsenal to come back and City come. So it's fighting out to the last minute. So we've got to try and maintain our quality, what we've been showing recently, and our energy in the next few games and on into the new year. Because if we do that, I can't see anybody stopping us. Honestly, if we play like we've been playing with the energy and the skill, the passion, it's just another level. So we can't afford it to dip. But you're right, Frank. If we get any injuries, 3 or 4 injuries to key players, then, you know, you might just see a little bit of an effect.
This is why I'm not
bound to be an effect, because I was going to mention Joe Gomez, and we mentioned them before by saying, you know, it's as though he's been playing for the last 3 seasons since.
We're lucky with him. Very lucky.
So we're lucky in that respect.
Yeah.
But we've got nobody to replace Mo Salah.
Well,
and this is why I don't kind of lose it, you know, over kind of 11 points ahead of City or 9 points ahead of Arsenal, because at the end of the day, I mean, that's grand, but it's not much in the grand scheme of things, especially when you have the second half of the season to play, you know. Yeah. So like when you look at the leagues that have been won in recent years, there's not many points dropped. So I mean, for City to have dropped as many points as they have this season is crazy, and it's abnormal based on their stats. Arsenal, I think, are kind of the bottle jobs, but we have to look after our own. It's all well and good saying, well, the media are looking to burst our bubble. We could burst our own bubble if we don't keep an eye on the injuries and do something maybe in January, because I definitely think that's what we need.
Well, we have burst our own bubble in the last couple of years, haven't we? You know, you can't deny it.
I mean, 9 points is a good lead, but it can virtually go in 2 games. Yeah. If you lose 2 games and they win 2 games. On the other side of it, though, they've got to win all their games. I mean, they are going to lose games as well. Yeah, Arsenal and City are going to draw or lose games as well. So 11 points from City, I really don't think they'll catch us on that. Arsenal are going to be the ones we've got to watch, I think. City are going through a rough period.
We should win the league. That's what I said, you know, when we were coming up to playing these games after the Southampton game. I said, you know, we've got to win these games, make a statement, not only in the Premiership, but also in Europe. And we played them. And we played them off the park, those 2 teams, Real Madrid and City. We played them off the... And I said, if we, win those 2 games, Liverpool, this is what I said, Liverpool should win the league. And I'll keep to that. We should win it.
We beat the German champions as well, don't forget.
Oh, yeah, Leverkusen.
Yeah.
So that's the Spanish champions, European champions, and the English champions. So you can't get much better than that.
No.
I mean, when you looked in October, the November fixture list, you thought, Christ, I mean, where do you see us dropping points? And luckily enough, you know, we played extremely well in November, and running into the Man City game, which we should have absolutely hockeyed them, but we're not lucky. We got 2 goals in, and that was great. But we can't be complacent now, especially against Newcastle, and especially against Everton. Everton will be a tough game.
What I like, Sean, we're not giving goals away. We're not losing goals. Our goal difference is fantastic with the goals against compared to last year. If you look at the goals against, I think we've only lost about 6 goals.
Yeah, that's true, George. And I mean, the thing is last season, if you remember, we were conceding nearly every game.
Yeah, we conceding first every game.
Yeah.
We're losing the first goal and having to fight back a lot last season. But this season, we're doing much better scoring first. Much easier when you score first. Takes the pressure off, I think.
Absolutely.
Well, okay, that puts us nicely onto what You Never Walk Alone says here. What changes would you make to the team tomorrow? Any?
Well, I said the only one I would change, I would put Curtis Jones in for
Maka.
for McAllister.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and I might put Nunes in for Diaz to start, and that's about it.
That's a good point. That's a very good point, actually. Yeah. Okay, go along, but the same, more or less the same team, like the likes of the back four. It's the same back four that finished.
Yeah.
Against City. That has to be. Obviously, we're not going to change the goalkeeper. Kelleher's there.
No.
Midfield.
Curtis Jones deserves a game. He's been playing out of his skin, playing for England. He won't let us down, and it gives Maka a rest for the derby.
Yeah.
And Nunes has got a good record in Newcastle, so let's see if he can do it again.
I think Curtis will start tomorrow because he only came on for the last, 10 minutes?
I'm pretty sure he will,
Yeah, so I think he was conserving him. So I think our midfield's okay for tomorrow, to be honest. Whether we play McAllister or not, I don't know. I just don't know. But Szoboszlai, we've got to play him.
I wouldn't start Elliott. I don't know who made the comment.
No, I've seen that. I was going to mention that, actually. Because Callum said Elliott there. I think it was Elliott who said it. Callum who said it.
Yeah.
I would be playing because he's been out too long.
He needs to come on later on.
And I wouldn't put. I think he also said Endo. I wouldn't play Endo.
No.
He's another one who could come on in the last 10 minutes to shore it up.
Then again, we can't afford to.
He always gives 100% out, Endo, but you're not quite at that level that we need for
the
league.
Did you notice the? If you
Sorry,
look at and see the substitutes were, there was a weak bench, against City. It was a very weak bench.
Yeah, they had.
There were two goalkeepers.
Yeah.
A couple of youngsters.
Bench, yeah.
Think about it.
I wouldn't put Elliott in against Everton the weekend either.
No, definitely no. You Never Walk Alone. I was thinking we bring in Darwin to the front three, move Lucho to the left, and Curtis in the midfield for Szoboszlai.
The only thing with Szoboszlai is he put a hell of a shift in the other day. 90 minutes of hard graft, so you might think he might need a rest for half a game, but I wouldn't leave him out of the way he's playing.
But then again, Sloot loves Szoboszlai.
Yeah.
When you come under some stick, fans saying he wasn't good enough and all, he's seen something, and he's my man of the match the other day. Yeah. He was incredible. And that's what he's got in his tank. But it's not just a one-off game, where he plays well. He'll always play well, this lad. I like him.
Yeah,
I think he'll start.
Since we have to make some changes while staying very strong, that's what. Yeah, and we will make changes. I've been watching Mane scoring all around. Merry Christmas, Everton. It's on YouTube. Yeah.
That was a great song, that, wasn't it?
And the IBR says I'll bring Elliott on at 70 minutes and rest Salah if we're 2-0 up, and possibly Gravenberch and other to protect our spine. That's a good show.
I think you will. And don't forget, it's a 15-man game now.
Yes,
it's not an 11-side game now. The players know that.
But that 15-man, George, has to be solid. What I mean is, quality. We can't rely on, I don't like saying this, but We can't rely on the likes of young Martin, for example.
No.
Honestly, we can't. People love him. People say, "Oh, he's great. Should we give him?"
Yeah, he's great in the Carlsberg Cup and the FA Cup and all them games. Bring them lads in then.
That's it. Spot on. That's all. Can't feel fine in January, Edward says, George. They'll use us being top as an excuse.
Well, that's a big excuse at the moment. That's why they're not under too much pressure at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably hear, it's very difficult to buy in January, and it's very difficult to bring in a player when you've already got quality players. And then, if they do anything with the contracts, they'll say, oh, well, these are as good as signings.
Yeah, that's what Frank said.
The usual thing. And I mean, as Francine said as well, they can afford a baseball player, but
700 million.
Yeah, but Frank, like I had been saying, I was saying this till I was blue in the face, to the point where I was ridiculed online, and all I was doing was stating what was blatantly obvious to me. I mean, I'm no Frank Carlyle, I'm no George Scott, I'm no any sort of expert whatsoever. I just saw what I saw on the pitch and what was needed, and what these owners are prepared to do and what they're not prepared to do. And if you do a bit of research into them, most people will find that they're not in it to invest. They're in it to, buy a club. Make a profit. Exactly.
Well, that's it. It's no matter what we say. We can't legislate for them, and I've said it now for a very long time that I think they'll get the contracts out, 3 lads. I really do, and then they can turn around and say it's like 3 new signings. That's what will happen.
Do you want my take on it?
What?
Do you want my take on it?
Go on.
So I reckon Trent is gone. I reckon Trent is gone to Real Madrid. I'm almost 150% sure that Trent is gone. I put my life savings, if I had life savings, that he is gone to Real Madrid. Mo, I reckon Edwards and Hughes are getting the media to put a PR spin on that, because they're now starting to see the banners up in the top. Give Mo his dough. Obviously, Mo is being a lot more vocal about his contract. That does not sound like a man that wants a 1-year contract with Liverpool. It sounds like he wants more.
He wants to stay, doesn't he? He wants to stay.
He wants to stay. He wants to break records. And he did a few years back say that he wants to play out the remainder of his career at Liverpool. He couldn't see himself with any other club. So with that in mind, and then Simon Hughes coming out and saying he's prepared to take 1 year, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I think he wants 3 years. The owners are looking to give him 1 year, because we know FSG's history with players that age. They're not willing to kind of extend their contracts. They're looking, they almost are happy enough to lose them on a free. That's what happened with Genie. That's what happened with Bobby. That's what happened with Milner. They didn't want to offer them contracts.
Yeah, they're on a different plane from Salah. Salah's on a higher plane than any of them, Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Sean. My take with them two is I can't see Salah leaving. That's my opinion. Can you imagine the fans? I mean, you imagine the uproar if he goes to another club for free. All this is smoke and mirrors, is negotiating, as you say, smoking, trying to get one person. He'll stay at Liverpool. I'm positive. That's just my view. Might be wrong. I think he'll stay. He loves Liverpool. Right. He said this is like home. His kids are here. He's playing fantastic football. Crowd love him. Everything's in his favour. If he goes to somewhere else, what can he do better? What can he do better, really? I don't see it.
I think his career would be on a decline, to be honest with you, because I don't think that although he's about targets, he's not going to want to do as much with any other club, because he doesn't have that passion for any other club the way he does for Liverpool. So
Exactly.
absolutely he wants to stay at Liverpool. That's without saying. That goes without saying. But they have to offer him a contract, and if they're only offering him 1 year, that makes no sense. With regards to Virgil, I think Virgil is the one that I'm 100% sure will sign a contract.
Yeah,
He's the only person. He's the only person that has said that there's talks. So
he's a leader. He's a leader. That inside Anfield, Frank. See, on inside Anfield, you always hear Virgil talking to the team. Come on, lads. Come on now. All together. Work together. He's the leader, isn't he? They all look up to him.
Geeing them up. He gees everybody up. And
I read an article in the paper today that said if Salah is Liverpool's Ferrari, Van Dijk is the Rolls Royce.
Go away.
Yeah. That was a guy in the Daily Paper.
That's a great analogy. That's a great analogy. And it's true though, isn't it, as well? But my take on it is he will sign. I know what you're saying, Sean, that the other fella, Trent, is going to.
Yeah, I agree with Sean there.
Yeah, so... But we've got to keep our spine no matter what. And as young Callum says, we are 9 clear with 4 crucial injuries. We are too good. What he's saying, what is he saying? We could, if there were 4 crucial injuries, we're still good enough to go on and win the league or whatever.
No,
I can't see that.
I wouldn't chance it. I wouldn't chance it. I mean,
no,
and you can't make that the assumption that if we have another injury or another 2 injuries that we'll still play as well or better than what we've been playing. I mean, there's always a slump in a season, or there's always a slump in a period of a season, and we may have ours later on in the season. Who knows? I hope that's not the case, but we cannot have all the fixtures that we have, compete in the domestic cups, compete in the Champions League, and then compete for the Premier League title with the current squad that we have. We need reinforcements in January, even if it was 1 or 2.
I'm surprised they let Doak go off to Middlesbrough. He's playing absolutely fantastic for them, and he would be an ideal guy to come in for an injury. You say if someone like Salah got injured, you got an extra bullet there with him. And they let Batiček go across. He's another one, isn't he? He's away playing over. And he was so talented, that boy, and he got that long-term injury, growing pains or whatever. So maybe he's got past that now and bring him back next season. That may be a nice thing for the summer, And
he's playing well, apparently.
Yeah.
So, that has bypassed him. Those, I call them the Steven Gerrard pains. I remember him going out and they were growing pains, if you know what I mean, with Steven. And I think, well, the likes of Batiček, we were all surprised at the time.
Yeah.
But if Mo doesn't sign a contract, and he's allowed to leave, it won't be the owners getting the blame. It'll be that Richard Hughes fella.
It would want to be Richard Hughes. It would want to be Richard Hughes because, I mean, I don't get, and I mean, I've just seen Darwin, the GOAT, saying, I'm so thankful to Edwards because no one saw the Sloot appointment coming, and he's been perfect. They pulled off the most difficult job of replacing Klopp. I can't believe it was a blessing. I don't think you can. I don't agree with that. I don't think anyone can give credit to Edwards. Edwards left the club and then came back, which I wouldn't have had, and I agree.
No, I disagreed with that as well.
And the same with
Ward.
And the same with Julian Ward.
But there was something more behind that, as well, as you know.
Yeah, and to say or to even pretend that nothing went on there would be very naive of us to think that, because I definitely think there was more to it than just that.
Yes.
It smells very dodgy, to be honest with you. But going back to Richard Hughes, I mean, Richard Hughes is getting full of praise by David Ornstein and co, and I don't see why. What has he done at the club?
Well, why are they giving them praise? What's he done? I know he's been on holiday. That's the only fucking thing he's done. I'm sorry to say.
I've never heard much from him at all. No statements or anything. Yeah,
nothing. Absolutely nothing.
The only statement he made was the Arne Sloot, the opening statement that he made with them. That was it. That was the first and last time that we saw of Richard Hughes. And I mean, what I would have done, I mean, this sounds a bit mad, but I mean, what I would have done my first day as, if I was Richard Hughes, I would have sought after the three most important players that were running down 12 months into the contract, and I would have said, right, guys, I know I'm new, but I know what you guys mean to this club and what the club means to you. What does it take to sign, put another contract on you? And he's not done that. As far as I'm concerned, he's approached, and myself and Adam have spoken on this, and Adam reckons that they have approached Salah. Salah's saying that he hasn't been offered a contract. Now, to me, that says they haven't approached him. That, so why have they not approached Mohamed Salah, one of the best players in the world? Why have they not, why hasn't Richard Hughes done that? Why hasn't Richard Hughes done anything with Trent? Trent is sitting around like a headless chicken.
There won't be sitting around. There'll be negotiations going on at the moment. I can assure you that there'll be negotiations going on. No, and just not going to be sitting there ignoring the whole thing. I'm not saying we don't know how the negotiations are going, but there will be negotiations going on at the moment. Definitely.
There's have to be.
Well, there definitely would have to be. Yeah.
We won't be party to it. They won't announce to the public. We won't know anything until the deal's done or not done. I can tell you that. But the rest of it's all speculation. It's all speculation.
And I get that. But can I just ask you, George, on what Salah said, you can only assume with from the horse's mouth that he hasn't been approached by the club. Like the club have not been in negotiations with him over a contract.
Anyway, we'll have to wait and see.
I don't know whether he's coming or going.
I think it's a big distraction for everybody. I think we should be concentrating on getting these wins, keeping the standard we are now. These players playing like they are. To me, I at the end of the season, Sean, if we are managed by Mickey Mouse, owned by Donald Duck, and we win the league and win the Champions League, I'll be happy. That's just me.
I'll bring over some Mickey Mouse ears for the both of us to wear. So.
Because that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's what it's all about, getting them trophies onto the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I just wanted to see these players sign a contract. That's I care.
We all do. We all do, Sean, without a doubt.
No,
we all do. It'll be a big relief once we know what's going on. Yeah.
And, look, I know people are saying, all right, let's see what you never walk series. I'm more confident than ever Trent will stay.
There you
go. That last week where we beat the champions of Europe and England shows where we are right now. And it's only the start.
Yeah.
That's a second comment.
I thought you were
the best club team in the world at the moment.
Comment.
I thought you were going to break into a song. It's only just begun.
Oh, God, yeah, see.
There you go. Yeah.
This pod should be called Frank's Got Talent.
Frank's Got Talent. Get out the karaoke machine there and the two mics.
Do you know what? I was at a Christmas party, the lecturers and that.
Yeah.
So we got there, you know, and there was a lovely woman. She was really lovely person. What I mean is, lovely person, and nice looking girl, you know, woman. Anyway, I gets up and you know, I get a song, you know, when they get the old karaoke. So I gets up and I'm singing. I'm singing one of well, I forget the fucking name of the song, to be honest, but it's one of the big O's. So getting blessed. And it's one of the songs. It was a love song, you know, one of Roy Orbison's.
Oh yeah.
And anyway, I stopped singing it, you know. Then I give it a little bit of a Velvet one, you know. He turned to sender, and then came up. I forget what song I sang, you know.
Return to Sender. What a song.
I forget what.
It's hard to sing a Roy Orbison song. He's so good.
Crying, is it?
No, it wasn't good. It was a love song. So yeah, anyway, I walks over, you know, to the bar, and this fella, a fella like that comes over. He went, "Was you singing about my fucking wife there?" I said, "Well, I said, you what?" He said, "You was fucking singing about my fucking wife there." I said, "No." I said, "I don't even know you're that." He said, "I'm her husband." And this woman, you know, nice, lovely person, lovely personality. Because I said to her, "This song is for you." No, I thought she was with a little mate.
That's the danger of karaoke. That's the danger. That happened to me, Frank. There's a great place just in city centre of Dublin, in Stephen's Green, called Sinnets. And every Thursday night I go straight from work to Sinnets, and there was a karaoke night, and they'd see the karaoke guy would see myself and my mate coming in, and he'd say, "Jesus, there's Dumb and Dumber coming in." And there was this girl, and she said, "No, come up and sing a song with me." I didn't know her from Adam or whatever. And we sang Grease Lightning. And of course I was singing to her. I was serenading her. Let's just, you know, I have a bit of, you know, I'm not like Henry VIII. I don't chop their heads off or anything like that. But I was serenading her, and then found out that her fiance was at the bar. So I was in a similar situation to yourself, Frank, and I had to pipe it down a bit. But yeah, there were the days.
Yeah.
You know, I just started a song now, and I drove all night.
Oh yes,
it's really tight, you know, and that came out. And to get to you, you know, honestly, what are you fucking talking about? What you're singing there to me? Oh, you know what I mean? I said, "I'm married." I'm gonna fuck you for singing about my wife. Anyway, I don't know who we were, honestly, God. I don't think I've seen it after that. Fuck that.
Yeah, I sang with ABBA in the ABBA Museum, but it wasn't really ABBA. It was the clones. The clones.
The clone, yeah. The
behind me and Gordon Wallace was singing "Mamma Mia."
George, you'll always have
in Stockholm.
You'll always have Elizabeth Taylor. I mean, come on, and Henry Kissinger.
Well, IBR says FSG will blame climate change or possibly Trump for not buying in January, most probably. No. Vladimir Putin will get the blame for us not playing there. But anyway, just imagine Sloot hasn't made a real signing yet, so we will keep, says You Never Walk Alone. He made Chiesa.
He's still injured. He's still injured.
I seen him standing, you know, the camera went on him, and standing on and he's just like, you know, after the game, he looked lost because there was no one around him, and he was just standing there, you know.
Horrible when you're injured, isn't it?
You never walk alone. On improving under the slot penitentiary.
The slot penitentiary, I like that.
Snipey says, to maintain a regular challenge, we need 20 2022/24 first team standard players, yes. Quantity and numbers is all well and good, but replacements need to slot in seamlessly.
Yeah,
So
it's about building the squad, isn't it? Because you can't bring somebody in to replace anybody at the moment straight into the team. Who can you leave out?
No.
You have to be a real world-class player to come in and leave any of these lads the way they're playing at the moment. They're beating everybody for fun.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, I know what Frank was saying about like getting a defensive midfielder, but with the way Gravenberch is playing at the moment, I mean, it's. I mean, he has been phenomenal, and I mean, I don't use that word as much, but I'll tell you, he has been phenomenal. He has really just shown, well, look, here I am, and he's really put it to him.
I think he's just been voted. I think it's the 8th best midfielder in the world.
Well, that goes to show. I mean, I don't know about you gentlemen, but I think he's been the player of the season so far. You know, because we were all focused on that position, and we're all worried about it. And I mean, I agree with Frank. We do, I think, need another one. Another defensive midfielder, but I would not start that defensive midfielder ahead of Gravenberch. I'd make him compete for that spot. And
if we brought the likes of Zubamendi, for example, he can play anywhere in the back four.
Yeah, he can play in defence as well.
Yeah, left sided centre back. Yeah.
Well, then that's a must.
I mean, Cappy can do that as well. He's brilliant. He can play forward. He can play back. That's why Pep wants him.
So I didn't know that he could play in defence as well. So I would.
Yeah, he can.
That's amazing.
And Cappy can, not in Cappy. Yeah, in Cappy can as well. In Cappy can play left back, and he can play centre back, left side. Hopefully, Man United get a draw at Arsenal, says the IBR. And you said, do you know what the problem would be if we renewed all three, Trent, Mo and Virgil's contracts? FSG won't sign new players as they will have used their transfer budget paying their wages. Well, that's what I said months ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
They'll sign and we won't sign any players because the old little adage will come out by saying like 3 new signings, and that's been said before.
But I think we all know that to be BS, because the amount of money that they have freed up with Thiago leaving, with Matip leaving, and all those young players leaving, I mean, there's certainly enough money there in the kitty to put up those contracts. So I don't necessarily agree with that. Of course, they will say that, that's the transfer budget, but yeah, I don't buy that.
Yeah, money shouldn't be a problem to FSG, really.
No, money's a problem to us.
No.
No money whatsoever is a problem to Liverpool Football Club. And I've said that all along, George. Till I'm blue in the bloody face. I've said it all along. And IBR says, I think 88 points is enough to win the league this season. And Youssef says, rivals are pinning their hopes on Newcastle, Everton and Spurs to take points off us. We win those fixtures. That should take the wind.
Yeah, but clubs will take points off the others as well. I mean, Arsenal and City, they'll lose points as well. They've got to win 3 games, and we've got to lose 3 games, and we've got
Arsenal have got to come here to Anfield, remember, as well.
Exactly, yeah.
The other thing you're forgetting, guys, is Chelsea.
Yeah, that's right.
Chelsea, and I mean, Spurs are now coming into their own a little bit. After that 4-0 trubbing against City. So I mean, it's very, very tough in the top 4.
It's going to be a big fight for top 4 between about 6, 7, 8 clubs, and they'll cut each other's throats.
Yeah.
to get there. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
To
look
get
at the difference between 4th and 6th and 7th. There's very little in the difference.
Yeah.
Only goal difference and maybe 1 or 2 points.
Yeah.
I mean, when we won the league, we won by 20 points, didn't we?
Yeah.
Anyway, we beat Madrid, Leverkusen, Man City, but the press will say we're lucky. You're right there, IBR. That's what they've been saying.
Let them. I don't care.
I was listening to Gary Neville today. People slag him off, and I think he's all right, you know, good point. But, and there's the big caveat with Neville. He said, I remember we were 11 points behind the team in the 90s, and we went on to win the league. And I thought, oh, boy, did you see?
That's typical guy.
Right, I was thinking Quansar against Everton loves a smashing tackle, says Callum.
I wouldn't have a problem. He's a good player.
Yes, yeah. We have just beat Madrid, Leverkusen, City, but we have smashed it. We haven't just beat them.
Exactly.
We did. And Callum says, I didn't put Enzo in.
Sorry, Callum. I was like,
no, he didn't.
I'm only messing.
Somebody else did. I did see Enzo's name in by one of the lads.
It was look, he's snitching on it. Look, it was IBR saying Callum. I never said it. It was IBR. He's a snitch.
I never said that, sir.
Exactly. Oh, well done, Callum. You're loved by us all. The derby is too intense for Harvey Elliott's first start. That's a very good point.
Yeah, he won't start him in that game, no. I don't think he'll start him in any of the next few games.
Naoni might get minutes as he was on the bench last Saturday.
Yeah, maybe towards the end of the game if we're winning.
If we're winning 9-0, yeah. Szoboszlai's intensity is crucial in the derby, says Snapey, and you're spot on there.
Yes, 100% there.
You're spot on. And
his work rate has been really, really good over the last couple of games, you know.
Oh, there's me mate there, look.
Yusuf.
No, this fella here. He's never. He came on last night. He said, Frank, remember me? He's from the Czech Republic, and he's a big Liverpool fan. And he's coming over to watch the Fulham game. And he said, "What do you mean?"
Czech Republic, yeah, lovely.
I'm going to give him the address, you know.
Fantastic.
Pavel, his name is. He's smashing lad. He's a smashing lad.
Do you know what? They got fans everywhere, Frank. I saw in India, in Calcutta, they got this huge bar, and they got all these Liverpool fans just like they're at the game. They've got the scarves and they've got the banners and all televisions all around the room. And when they score, everything goes just like they're in the cup. It's incredible. In Calcutta, Kolkata, they call it now.
They're everywhere. I watched one which is in America. It's in Tampa, I think it's somewhere.
Yeah, I've seen that one. It's a similar sort of thing, Frank.
And you see them all in the bars, and they're all high-five.
It's
incredible.
God, we're so lucky to live here.
Just lovely. These are fun.
And those guys would just give everything to come to Anfield once.
Oh, just
once in the whole life.
But you get moaners, George, who say we can't get tickets with these. And,
lucky.
Look at our Francine when she said that she was in the upper stands in the Anfield Road. And all these Japanese were there. She said about 10, 12 of them. They were all there, you know. I said, did they all have Enzo on the back? She said, no, slubbers like. Just that's all the slubbers like. Shirts left.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was only talking to Brandon from Mighty Reds 97, and like he lives in South Africa, and the stick that he gets for being South African and being a Liverpool supporter is crazy, and they'll keep saying to him, "How many times have you been to Anfield?" It would almost cost him a year's salary to get to get a flight over there, let alone get a ticket. So, I mean, people need to be, a little bit tuned in and stop that pettiness. I mean, the fans worldwide are incredible.
Well, I've never moaned about any of it. I love our fan base.
Yeah.
And I can't get a ticket. And it's a shame, I can't. I was made up to bring, not to the last Southampton game, but the last season, in the cup with Sophia, and I was made up. And I was with my grandsons. I've been with my grandsons, numerous of times, and because they were a lot older than Sophia, and I was just made up. But can I get one this season to bring her again? Because she says granddad, and she's got a Trent shirt on, watching the game. Pavel says,
sorry.
Can I read this out? I think he might have gone. Hi, friends. Just a quick note. Always, and for several years now, I'm nervous at every match. I love our club. Good luck, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Hi, Frank. Pavel from Czech Republic.
That's lovely. Very nice, isn't it? Lovely that.
Isn't he? He was on the other night, I was chatting to him on here. And he said, you go on a match? And I said, I can't get a ticket. And I said, listen, I'll send you my address, because he sent me an email to, not a private email, because he hasn't got that. It's gone to Jason. Forgot to mention to Jason about these bloody. I can't get onto the emails sent here. Funny enough, I can't get onto them. Jason has to send me them through. And so I'm going to send them, my address. And it'll be great. It'll be fantastic. He's just a lovely fella. Anyway, Darwin the go. Good evening, young gentlemen.
Thank you, Darwin. That's very nice of you. Thank you.
What's he after? I think he's after that Elizabeth Taylor autograph.
You'd be a bit late for looking for that.
I'm so thankful to Edwards, because no one saw Sloot appointment coming.
No, you're right. I didn't.
No one's seen it. No one's seen it. And he's been perfect. They pulled off the most difficult job of replacing the big Yeg. Yes.
Credit where credit's due,
yeah. No one's and I've got to get down to
he's such a likable guy as well. I don't know about
exactly. That's what I like about him. He's brilliant in the media. Brilliant.
He's just. I mean, I just took a liking to him straight away. Just like his first interview, and then just how he's handled himself at the press conferences.
He hasn't put a foot wrong, has he?
No.
Always press interviews. He doesn't insult anybody. He's always positive, and he's really good, and he's quite good with the opponents as well. He doesn't do the opponent down. I think he's breath of fresh air.
Yeah. He's different to Klopp, obviously, but
Jurgen will never be forgotten for what he's achieved.
No.
I mean,
he's if he gets the money, he can emulate him. But I see. Look, when people associated Jurgen with Shankly, I embrace that simply because of the socialist outlook.
Yeah.
Right, and he was just Shankly and Jurgen and their philosophy on socialism and about the fans. Don't forget, it's the fans he brought in, Jurgen, like Shankly did. Like Shankly. You know what I mean? And when Jurgen went up and doing that, the fist.
Special relationship.
That was for us. That was for us. But when someone turns around and says about
Paisley,
a salute, Arne being like Paisley, no one no one on the planet will be like Paisley.
Well, he won so much, didn't he? I mean, he won so many trophies, 19 trophies, whatever, you know.
Put it that way, though. Put it this way, George. To win 3 European Cups within the space of a few years, when you're at to be champions of your club, your country, think about that. No one can
even Pep Guardiola can't live with that, can he?
No one. Even Ferguson. He couldn't live with it. He couldn't emulate that. Not
exactly.
Took him years to get those trophies. He did it in a few years, Bob.
Exactly. It took him 20-odd years, and it took Bob 9.
I think what people mean about Slot being like Paisley, I think it's a difference in character between the effervescent Jurgen Slot, the passionate up front, and Slot's a little bit calmer. And he's like Bob was calmer, you know, but just as effective.
But I also think it's probably because obviously, you know, people identified Klopp as the German Bill Shankly, and obviously they think then the next manager is going to have to be Bob Paisley, and I think that's the standard that they're setting for Sloot, which I mean you can't say now midway in the first season that he is Bill, you know, or he's Paisley. You just can't, you know.
I'm working down the pitch to Liverpool. That's what he used to say. Liverpool. Working down the pitch to Liverpool.
Arne will be judged on the trophies. He'll be judged on the trophies. That's the judgment.
Exactly.
Him and the Shanks are legendary. And Klopp has become a legend. He really has. No matter
the way things are at the moment, the sky's the limit. When you think about it, we're in everything, aren't we? We're in the FA Cup, Carlsberg, European Cup, top of the league there as well.
Well, young Callum, Newcastle 1, Liverpool 4 is my prediction. Scorers: Nunes, Brice, Salah, and Trent. Free kick. See, he's predicted everything. Is our Callum?
Put a bet on.
Is it Callum's birthday fairly soon? It's this month, I think.
I don't believe this fella. Listen, look, I've got to look. I'll let you read that out.
Me?
Yes.
I read out the bad one.
With all due respect, you guys got to be more positive. Well, Darwin, you've just tuned in, buddy, and we've been positive from the very start. But we cover a wide range of subjects where sometimes we need to be realistic and sometimes that might hurt sensitive ears. So, you know, we're being realistic. We're not losing the run of ourselves. We couldn't be happier with Slot. I think we're all in agreement with that. Yeah. He's done an amazing job so far, but he hasn't won anything. And wait until he does, and then we can judge him on his first season and see, you know, mark it on that.
We've had a permanent smile on our faces from the first kickoff of the pod.
Yeah, it's rosy, doesn't it? You know, these fellas, they're looking at other pods, obviously, and doing that, and then they come onto this. Now we're finishing. You know, we've been on since 8 o'clock, and we're finishing, and that's a negative.
Frank, I had the same thing last night. We did 2 hours of a pod last night, right? And we had done a quiz, and then someone comes up. John Henry was his name, and he says to me, you'd love if all 3 players left so that you have a reason to blame FSG. He says you're an FSG hater first, a Liverpool fan second, which is total baloney. So, I mean, every pod gets it, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't be happier at the moment the way things are going. I must be honest.
I'm true.
We all
We are. We're all passionate Liverpool fans. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Support the team.
Jumping off the chair.
I nearly did meet. I'll tell you, I know you you injured your leg there at the Real Madrid game. Yeah. I nearly injured my other hip. My right hip is sore. my left hip was nearly sore, and I had a bottle of water, and when Gapco scored the goal, that bottle of water went everywhere, everywhere. So, I mean, there was clothes that I had just taken out to Arne and all of that. Those clothes are destroyed now with water all over them. So I was like, yeah.
Well, I was talking to Jay on the phone. It was the Madrid game.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bentegni scored, and I was in the toilet. I went to the toilet. I was bursting, so I went in, and you know, you're in there, and the next Cozy scores. Cozy scores.
You missed the goal.
I missed that, but it wasn't what happened. Missing the goal, it went everywhere. You know what I mean?
He was in mid-flow.
Get them up out. To get them up out.
It's like that.
Always going on and saying that we're all negative.
It was like
when Gakpo scored that goal, I thought I was going to be smothered to death by my kids, my grandsons. God blimey, I was all over the place. We went ballistic.
Yeah, look, he's going on about it. Look, the official offer is only made when it is on terms the player will accept, but negotiations are ongoing. We know that.
I just said that.
Yeah, George said that.
Before, we're not there.
Obviously, the negotiations going on.
I don't think he's liked and subscribed, does he? Ali Denise, how are you boys? How is the weather in Liverpool? It's sunny as always.
It's sunny today, yeah.
It was okay today. To be honest. I was out shopping and so
what's the weather meant to be like in 2 weeks? Because I'll be over then.
Oh, it's going to be
that far ahead. You have to wait till next week.
That's not good enough.
I looked at Chiesa's injury record, and he's been injured pretty much every Christmas. Father Chiesa, I'll call him from now on.
That's terrible.
Father Chiesa.
Santa Chiesa.
And that's Cozy false. Cozy. Oh, Salah takes Chiesa under his belt like he did with Harvey, showing him the things he does, to get his fitness to those levels. Chiesa, with no injuries, would be a boss player.
Well, we know that he wasn't he?
Yeah, and Balaba can cover at the back as well, says IBR. The Liverpool videos. Chiesa might be up to speed by March, depends on how many minutes he gets at the pitch.
March, wow.
Liverpool videos, I would be shocked if he plays again this season.
God. I mean, I hope to Christ he does and ends up like scoring the winning goal for the Premier League and Champions League and the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. I'd love to see him do well, but I don't know.
He's going to have to get fit pretty quick now and get some minutes in one of these cup games.
He really is. Bless him.
We've got a new sub here. Trent, my guy. Hey, chap, I've just subbed. You'll never walk alone. Thank you, Trent.
Well done.
He's up with that name of yours. And Trent says, I don't feel as though I'm welcomed or loved by, and it bloody hurts, so I prefer to avoid it. The moment I chose to go to Real Madrid, I lost control of my career.
No, the moment he went to Manchester United, that's what.
Yeah, that's what he should have said.
With the Liverpool fans.
Even Carragher told him, and Steven Gerrard.
Yeah.
Before he signed, he said, "Don't sign for them."
Gerrard said that. He said, "If I'd signed for Man United, I don't think I'd be welcome at Anfield."
Yeah, exactly.
Completely ruined his legacy. Completely ruined it.
It's a shame because he was a wonderful player.
Fantastic.
I mean, in his prime, he was a fantastic striker.
He was brilliant. Absolutely. Yeah. I was on my holidays, and it was against Newcastle. Strangely, I hope this is an omen. And there was this little Italian, from Sicily he was, and he was the only one in this big area of the hotel watching the match. And I just gets back from Rome, you know, and I said, I'm running in to watch. I was about my ex then. I said, I'm running in to watch the game. So I went in and I was sitting down. There was this little lad there, a little Sicilian. I found out he was Sicilian later. And he said, you know, he spoke to me, you know, and I said, oh, Michael Owen. And I went over to the telly. It was a big telly. Went over and I pointed at Michael Owen. I said, Questa Michael Owen, Questa, you know, because he was made up with Michael Owen for some reason then. And I was pointing at him. And that's when he went on, as I was pointing at him, running down, you know, running through the middle, when he beat 3 people and he scored that goal and he ran. And do you know when he did that?
Yeah.
The little Sicilian and his parents then, you know, we were shouting and everything else, and his parents were looking, obviously, you know, a bit worried. Who's this? Who's this man, you know? And everything was explained, and it was great.
Yeah, but I remember the Arsenal game, Frank, the Arsenal final, when we had the gold shirts on.
Yeah,
Wembley,
I was going to say
and
that.
he scored them late goals. I was right behind the goal with my son, and that was a wonderful day. That when Arsenal beat them 2-1, didn't we? Owen scored both goals. He was right in his prime then.
Heskey and Fowler there with him as well. Like, I mean, that was something. That was
it was fantastic.
Well, Trent, my guy says, did you hear Owen came out and said this? Do you guys despise? No, we don't despise.
No, not in a million years.
No, we don't despise anyone, Trent. Honestly,
I think it's a very harsh word to be saying that they despise a player. I don't agree with his move to United, but
we still have fond memories, Trent.
It's all in the past, isn't it? You know, I mean,
you know, when we look at the past, but unfortunately, you know, he should never. And he was warned by legends of Liverpool.
He knows now he shouldn't have done it. He knows himself.
And he does know, but that's why he said Real Madrid. But I think why he said Real Madrid was he was pivotal to the team at the time.
Yeah.
He was pivotal. And you just see him and he just went in.
That song at Wembley, 1-0 down, 2-1 up, Michael Owen won the cup. That was our song, you know. It was unbelievable. The whole crowd was singing it, you know, and he was a legend. It's what a shame he went to United, really.
Exactly. The 2001 FA Cup final.
That's the one. Yeah.
In Cardiff, you know, when he went on and
2 great goals.
He went on to score that winning goal that won United the Premier League. And then like when he's doing the commentary, he refers to Man United as we. So I mean that is going to destroy your legacy at Liverpool Football Club. I mean, Paul Ince is a little bit different, you know, because he went from United to Liverpool and what have you. I mean, you could say Torres, you know, absolutely regrets leaving Liverpool. We've always had love for Torres. I wasn't one of those idiots that burnt the jersey, and I certainly wouldn't burn any Liverpool jersey.
No.
It's your decision who you have on the back of it, and if that player should happen to leave, you don't burn the jersey. You just hold on to it. That's it.
Well, I always remember on my car at the back, you know, the windshield at the back, and I had Stevie J, the 8th wonder of the world, little flag, you know, stick it on, little sucker. And I was coming home. I just finished my lecturing. I was coming home, and I had the radio on, and it said Stevens going to Chelsea. Now, this is the radio. That was Merseyside, Radio Merseyside. And anyway, I gets home, parks the car up, and I walks in the house. Despondent I was, because I love Stevens yet, like I love the ball, you know. And I was going, what are we going to do without Steven? He just won us.
Yeah.
The European Cup, Champions League, just won us in Istanbul. I was there. And so anyway, the next, I goes to my car, and I had to pull it out. You know, the little flag I had, little flag. I had to pull it out, the suckers, man, pull it down. And the next day, I couldn't wait to put it back up on the only car. Stevie G, the 8th wonder of the world. The relief. I've never felt over a player in my entire life.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I remember so well that, yeah.
Oh, what about you, Sean? You know, George said he was so relieved. What about you? Was you relieved when you found out that he was not signing at all?
It was the most anxious period as a Liverpool supporter and then you had Mourinho and his this crap.
Yes.
I absolutely despised Chelsea, and I thought you can't join. We need you. And when it was clear that we were going to keep him, I was the happiest guy. I mean, I was thrilled. What upsets me when I think back was when he left. I was inconsolable when he left because I felt that the club could have offered. I mean,
could have offered something.
They could have done something.
Yeah,
you know, because I still like. Funny enough, the first time ever that I've ever bought another jersey was LA Galaxy Gerrard number 8, because I always wore Gerrard number 8 Liverpool jersey. Always wore. You know.
Well, before George goes, there's a couple of things here because there's a question for us as well.
Okay.
It's Callum's birthday on Saturday.
Oh, good man! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
And I know what he wants. Callum wants 3 points.
3 points, and that would be a great birthday present, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Oh, he wants this signed program. The final when we beat 2-0 in Madrid. That's Mo Salah's signature on there.
Or the debut album of the Bad Knees.
Or he's want this for his birthday on Saturday. And it's what that you could win. And
Sean, you dropped down the league one place there, didn't you?
I did. I really had a bad.
I went up one.
I saw that.
Yeah, George, you're on a winning streak up to now.
I had to make
70 points.
Changes.
70 points I got.
I had to make some changes. Oh, that's not good.
Bill Clopper statue.
Love it.
Bill Clopper statue. Hi guys, happy top of the world. Liverpool Tuesday night. Yes, absolutely. I have a question for you, gentlemen. Right? This is a question. Would you rather win the league this season or win the UCL, FA Cup, and Carabao Cup?
Oh wow!
I'll tell you what I'd like to win: the Prem and the Champions League. I'd love to do that.
I think what he's asking is, it's
treble of that.
Or
the league.
Well, we'd all want to see us win the Premier League. Shankly used to say that's the true test. In those days, it was the First Division, which is the same as the Premier League. And he said that's the true test because you're beating all your other teams in the league over a season. So you are the best team in England at that time. The Champions League is different now than it used to be because it's a huge conglomerate of teams. And nowadays, Frank, the Champions League was the Champions League. The champions played in it. And if you lost, you were out. And we won 4 of them in that.
What I said to you before, George, you had to be champions of your country.
Team, you were out. You know, but to answer the question, like you, I'd like to win the Premier League and the European Cup. That's the 2 that we would all want to win. The other 2 are honey on the vine. If we win them, it'd be amazing. But I think the Premier League is my goal this year, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I think young Callum. Well, the Irish Reds 1988 says Arne Sloot is so impressive. The guy is so measured, composed, intelligent, seems to understand football inside out. I think we have unearthed a gem, fellas.
No doubt.
Well, he's talking about George.
The results prove it.
He's talking about George there. He's not talking about.
I thought he was talking about me. Jesus. No, but you know what? The one thing that sticks out for me is the interview after the United game where he had Roy Keane's mouth drop like this because he was asked, well, you know, did you know what sort of tactics Ten Hag would play? And he just worked it out and like that took United apart tactically. He's well clued in. So we certainly hit a gem with him. There's a bit of positivity for you there, Darwin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Darwin the goals. And Callum says the Prem, definitely. We haven't won enough of the Prems. One Prem for a club the size of Liverpool is not enough. Simply, let's be real here, guys.
It's so close.
Now, you know, he's coming out with all this now.
Yeah, let's get over the line this year.
Yes. And as the Irish Red says, it's beginning to look
a lot like
Frankie, on that note, I'll have to take my leave of you, I'm afraid.
Hello, George. Hello, see you next week, eh?
Been lovely again. Lovely. Thanks very much for your company, boys. And
no problem, George.
Well, you won't be able to do it because you're in bed at half 10. I'm doing a
post able to do that
tomorrow.
I doubt I'll be able to do it. I'll definitely be on next Tuesday if you let me, Frank.
No, I know that. But listen, George, just in case, you know, tomorrow night and you've watched the match, and if you just like jumping on, no problem.
Yeah, well, that's what I could do. I could jump on now, but I wouldn't be able to go the whole.
No.
Thanks very much for your company tonight. Been brilliant. And as usual, I'd say, come on, up the Reds. Come on,
Reds. See you later. Very lovely.
Brilliant. I'll tell you, was it the singing that put him off and had him go to bed early?
No, he makes him and his wife have a cup of cocoa or Horlicks.
I know, but I was joking about our singing.
Carol must have been shouting, your cocoa's ready, George.
Oh, did you say that? Oh, funny.
He's
but
lovely.
yeah, George is a gentleman, and he knows his. I mean, look, he knows his stuff.
The Irish Red says, George seems a proper gent. He is. He's a lovely man, believe us. He's Shankly signed him, played for the Reds, and he stayed here and there, you know, in the area for since he came down. You know, obviously he went to play for other people and even went to South Africa to play in their league. But he came back to us, you know. So that's apparently Johnny Eitinger is a massive influence on the team and improving players with his coaching, says IBR. Stella. George seems a prophet, he is. And IBR. See you, Jorginho. So Jorginho.
Yeah, George has got the better nickname. I got Henry the Feckin' Eighth.
That was funny, that. Wasn't that?
And do you know what the funny thing about was afterwards? I was like, "Oh Jesus Christ, am I gonna have to am I gonna get rid of this now?" And I
should have just said Franco and Jorginho in the court of Henry VIII.
Yes. Hear ye.
But anyway, are you coming on tomorrow night, or have you got your own pod?
I should be able at some stage tomorrow night.
Well, all right, so it'll be open for you anyway.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Frank.
Okay.
I'm going to be. I'll be off Friday, Saturday. So yeah, I'll be back on. I'll probably be on tomorrow night and then back on Tuesday. But I definitely.
You coming on Saturday?
I won't be coming on. I won't be coming on the Saturday one. But I will. I have that movie to review, which I'm dying to do. And you must give me another film to watch because I think just to make it more entertaining for the folks. So I've watched Nobody.
Okay, I'll give you another film.
Yeah.
There's a cracking one. I really want you to watch it unless I've told you before. And it's...
I was nearly going to ask you, is that a German film? It's a cracking one. I thought you said it's the cracking one, and I thought, oh, is that a German film with subtitles? It's a cracking one. Sorry, really bad joke.
I know, you know, I'm trying to think of a film for you to watch. Hang on, let me see. I'll tell you what to watch. Can't think of it.
Who's in it?
Who's in it? There's a few stars. Oh, fucking hell, what is it? It's called... Oh, fucking hell. Okay, I'll tell you what to watch. Do you like Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yes.
Okay. I think he's a great actor.
He is.
And what's in it? Keely. Oh.
He can't pronounce penguins, which is funny.
Kieran. Oh, no. Kieran. Oh,
Keira Knightley?
Yeah.
Keira Knightley?
Yeah, Kieran. And they're in a film, and it's a true story. It's a true story. It's about the Second World War and the code breakers. I forget what it's called, though. So I think you'll be able to find it, you know, if you researched it. You know, the title of the film with Keira Knightley and Benedict Cumberbatch.
Is he a mathematician?
Yeah. Toran. He plays this fella named Toran.
The Imitation Game, is it?
The Imitation Game, thank you. Yeah, there you are. Will you have a look at that?
I will have a look at that, and I will report back to you with a full analysis and review for the TV and review show.
I had on Saturday. I had you don't know Derek Shelmadine, do you?
No.
He comes on my show, you know, the history show. Yeah, and he does all the music, anything music.
Is that the guy with the lovely, fancy fireplace behind him?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
He's written a book, and it's that thick. It's like an encyclopedia of music. But anyway, Jason got older. He said he loves films. Can he come on and do a review? So I said, yeah, okay. So I sent him these films to watch.
Wow, okay.
I'm honest. There was one, right, and it's called A Walk in the Clouds.
Right.
Walk in the Clouds with Keanu Reeves.
Love Keanu Reeves,
right. Yeah. Cracking film. Really great film. And he fucking gave it away.
Oh, he told the book.
He fucking gave it away. I said, look, this is how to do a review. So I just picked it, like Flight of the Phoenix. And I just gave that as a review. I said, that's all you do. But he was giving it fucking... I said, that was the mystery of this girl. You know, the Walk in the Clouds. He said, but they find out. I said, I fucking know that. It was going mad. It was going mad. And then another one, and I went... And anyway, he was doing that, and I said, oh, that's all. So I just had to stop it because he was just...
He was given... there's nothing as bad as that.
Michael, right. Michael, this is through this. Do you know when you're sitting there watching the telly? And I'm going back years ago, sitting in my Auntie Mary's, you know, watching the telly, and now Michael walks in. And he said, what are you watching? And he said, oh, I'm watching this. He said, said he gets killed, by it.
One of my cousin's kids did that to me, and I nearly killed him. And actually, it's his birthday on Saturday, so happy birthday, Samuel.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice to do. And the IBR says, imagine signing for two legends in Bill Shankly and Franco Calucci.
I tell you.
Franco Calucci.
Tell you, that'd be an Italian player that'd do well at Liverpool. I'll tell you that for nothing.
What about that? The Irish lad. Arne is Pep's daddy.
Who is your daddy and what does he do? I'll tell you, there was more scratches on Pep's face after that. I'll tell you that for nothing.
You can tell George has gone, right. Callum, lads, young Callum this is. Lads, I believe if FSG fucked up and we got owners that spent, we would win 5 Prems in a row.
Yeah, look.
You can tell George, right, can't you? He's come out and said, fuck.
I mean, I get where George is coming from, is that we're doing extremely well and there's no point in really, but then again, I mean, I think you've got to be balanced in your assessment of the club and what's happening at the club. Although we're playing extremely well, and that's down to the players and Sloot, the coaching staff, there's stuff going on that is outside of their control, and that's the contracts and what players are at the disposal of Arne Sloot if he wants to bring in some refreshments or bring in new players come the January transfer window. So obviously we have to bring all of that in, and I know that's probably difficult to listen to, and if someone is just tuning in, to think we're negative straight away, and look, I get all of that, but it's George is fantastic, and I agree with him on the majority of things. I don't think I've disagreed with him on anything.
No. He's a legend, isn't he? He's a legend to us, if you know what I mean.
Well, George. I mean, Jesus Christ, I remember the first show I was on, and there was George, Scott, and then Jeff Golding, and I'm here. Yeah. And I mean, I'll tell you what, the introduction, Frank was bigging up Jeff and bigging up George, and rightly so. And then he says, and we've got Sean. So I was so starstruck. I didn't know what to be doing with myself. I was like, should I write a book and come back or something?
Write a book,
I was like, oh, but no.
People don't believe that I've written them, Do you know that?
You should write more, Frank. You should write more.
You're like an
encyclopedia.
Two plays I've written as well. Should write one about LFC, shouldn't I? And
you should.
About going down to the game, going over to say the likes of Rome, getting over there with the lads, going to Paris.
Who's going to play me though in your play? I don't say Henry VIII.
I was going to say, I'm not writing a historical one, about our kings.
Funny.
It is, though, isn't it? And Callum says, we love George, but everyone has a different opinion. It's just life, lads.
That's exactly it. And I mean, that's what I was saying there last night was AKM Live. Adam and myself have a difference of opinion on the contracts. He believes that Mo has been approached, or there has been negotiations with regards to contracts. We both agree that Trent is gone. We both believe that, but he reckons that Virgil and Salah will stay, and I'm not too sure about Salah.
Did you notice about Bellingham, by the way? He was standing outside the dressing room.
Oh yeah.
With he has his shirt. Bellingham had his shirt.
Yeah.
And he was waiting for Trent to come out and give him his shirt.
Yeah.
Think about that.
And I mean, but you see, the thing is like, if he did that on the pitch, there would be talk about it. If he did it where he did it there, there's talk about it too. So everything is put under the magnifying glass because these contracts haven't been sorted out yet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I mean, regardless of whether we know what's going on or not, obviously we don't. But what we do know is that these contracts should not be running into the last 3 or 4 months. It's bad business. I don't know.
I just want to get back to Callum's thing there. He says if Dave's are gone, we got our owners who spent, we would have won 5 Prems in a row. Thing is, Callum, we would have done if Klopp would have been given the money. We would have won 5. I'm telling you now.
Well, let me answer that by saying this, right? Because again, I don't want to be accused of being negative. If FSG had coughed up a few million here and there and invested when needed in the squad, without a doubt, we would have won 5 Premier League titles.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. So that's not saying FSG out, or if FSG weren't our owners. I'm saying if FSG invested.
That's all. They only had to invest. You know, when we won the Premiership first, then we won the Champions League. And, you know, if they was been invested then after winning those, you'd have gone on and won more. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and I mean,
there's no investment.
No, there isn't. And I mean, like back when I was saying about net spend and James Pearce was taking the piss out of, oh, where are the net spend boys now? And a couple of years later, he's now talking about the net spend being low and FSG not investing in the club. So welcome it, and you know, you're meant to be a qualified journalist, James, and you're saying it years and years after I had said it. And you criticize me for saying it. And you keep going on about that Broadback Mountain and me superimposing your head and John W. Henry's head on that. That was quite funny.
I've always said it. But you get some people, you know, coming out and say, I'll get behind the team. We fucking do get behind the team. And that's a cop-out. That's an excuse. Because when you question, okay, so we've invested a lot then. And what can they say? They can't say, well, I'll just get behind the team. Yeah, I get behind the team too. And just imagine getting behind the team with lots of investment that we can afford.
And nobody is, and what you'll hear is, oh, you know, you just want them to spend like United, spend like Chelsea, spend like City. No, we don't. Necessary spending. That's what we want. There will be some fans that want to spend like 500, 600 million a year, and that's not feasible. But I mean, to say that we can't afford to extend the contracts of our 3 top players, like, that's ridiculous. It's utter nonsense.
It is. And as Callum says, Frank, remember, just get behind the team.
Yeah, Frank.
You're going to get your little leg kicked in. always remember, we were going to match. 3 of us always went up. Just walked up there, you know, to the game. And this fellow was marrying kids and everything. Christ, he was a man. I was a man then as well, to be honest. Like, and I was married. And honestly, do you ever remember years ago, there used to be fellas, right, away teams, that is, away supporters, and they used to have scarves wrapped around the wrist. They used to, and you know, like these bobber boys, you know, you're going to get your fucking head kicked in, you know, singing. And he came out with 2 scarves. I said, well, not you're going to get your fucking head kicked. And we went, you're not going like that, are you? He went, oh, fuck off. I said, took the scarves off and we went the game. Oh, there was not that funny the way he said it. You know?
But look, I mean, you know, we could talk till the cows come home about the owners. I mean, they're not going to change, but the problem is that, like, while the tickets are now a conversation, and while you know there's a lot of Premier League club owners that are guilty of this, apart from Crystal Palace, you have to look at the fact that it was FSG that brought in this ballot with the membership, which makes it. I mean, if you are a member of the website, if you're an official Liverpool supporter club, if you're in that group, it's like putting yourself in a lottery system. That's exactly what it is. So then you're relying, and I'm sure Frank is relying on the same companies as I would rely on to get a ticket. You're then going to the companies that are being outsourced and are supported by the club that are overcharging fans, and it means that Frank can't bring his granddaughter to a game, and that is it's just not right. It's not right. If we thought that 20 years ago it was difficult to get a ticket, it's bloody difficult now. Very, very difficult.
Terrible. And as I've mentioned loads of times, you know, I've queued up, you know, it's that big queuing up and, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning to get a ticket for a cup match. Freezing cold, because always cup matches are in the winter. Freezing cold. And then getting the ticket around 9:30, you know, because you're in that queue that's miles long. And then going home, feet freezing, your hands are freezing. No fair to get home because you only had your match money, you know, for the ticket, and going home. That's what I did. Going to mad little grounds as well. And, you know, so then Shankly came along.
Totally changed it. Yeah.
The rest is a history.
The rest is history. Yeah.
No. So when will I see you then?
So you'll more than likely see me tomorrow night, hopefully with a big smile on my face, and then probably Tuesday night, because I have a few things to do at the weekend, and of course, it's my cousin's kid's birthday, which I'll be making an appearance, and plus, obviously, we've got the Everton game as well, 12:30 kickoff as per usual.
I know it's a mad kickoff, isn't it?
Yes.
You know why they do that, don't you?
Oh, listen.
It's that.
Yeah.
It's because of that before the game.
Yeah.
And look at that Callaway game. Look at them. So predictions for tomorrow, Sean and Frank.
3-0 Liverpool.
I'm going to go with 2-0. I'm going to stick to that 2-0. I really am.
I think that the pattern between our predictions, I'm always a little bit more optimistic. I think, but I think 2-0 probably be a safer option.
And I think we'll beat Everton 4-0.
4-0, okay.
I think we'll stuff them. And as Callum said, I'll stick with 4-1. Liverpool battle. We will hand out a drubbing.
I think the Everton game might be a little tougher, just the fact that it's a derby.
And it's their last game at Goodison.
Well, sure.
But they just kick us.
Yeah.
Sean Dice get stuck in. And the IBR says 2-1 with Nunes and Gakpo. And 2-0 for Liverpool. You know, for the derby game.
Yeah, I think with Brandon's Mighty Reds 97 score prediction, I think I went with 2-1 to Liverpool, of course.
Well, whatever. Let's just hope that we get the 3 points.
Yeah, it would be nice to get a clean sheet as well. And obviously, Kelleher in both of the games, I wouldn't rush Ali into it. And I think it's only fair that Kelleher stays on.
No, we can't, because Kelleher has done a remarkable job.
Absolutely.
And
it was great to hear the cop singing Ireland's number one.
Yeah, Ireland's number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was any chants from City.
Yeah, Francine told me. My grandson was there, wasn't he? So, and he was listening to her.
That's disgraceful.
That's the way it is. I just said to her, Francine, I said, well, you know, the Manx, aren't they? So what do you expect?
Yeah, but it's not like as if the SOS can, you know, go out and put out a statement against it, because sure they were doing that themselves at a, you know. But I mean, I definitely think that the Premier League, if they're talking about taking a knee for this and taking a knee for that, they need to put out, you know, a statement criticizing the fans that do that, and fining the club. To be honest with you, I think the club need to be fined, and whoever it was caught singing those chants or whatever, they should be banned from any football stadium in England for the rest of their lives. Because I know that Arsenal fans, they got a 3-year ban. I don't think they should get a 3-year ban. It should be a life ban, because it won't change after 3 years.
Yeah. And Callum says, I'd love a goal from a local in the derby. I'll tell you, Curtis Jones will score.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
A big curler in the top corner. Curtis, or he'll just run on it one. That's your local.
He's got to do that what's his name, Roberto's celebration when he had a baby there in Italian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that was brilliant. Yeah, that was it. I'm doing that.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
The dummy. I'm not singing that. Yeah, Callum. And the alley says, let's say the club will now renew Virgil's and Salah and Trent contracts. Who you will pick to replace them?
So do you mean that they won't renew?
They won't. I think that's what he means. Who will you pick to replace them?
Jesus Christ. Well, you can't. You can't
be replaced.
Especially Mo. There's no one out there that can.
None at all.
No.
None. There's none whatsoever. And that's the unfortunate thing. Right. And on that wonderful note, let's hope the 3 points tomorrow. See you tomorrow anyway.
Yeah. You should see me at some stage.
Do you know who got on this show on Monday night? You know, my history show?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Brookside?
I've heard of Brookside, yeah.
Oh well, so I've got a fella who used to be on that. He's still acting like, you know.
What's his name?
John McCardle. He played Billy Corkill in Brookie. It's great, good friend of mine. I said, when you come on, he says, yeah, but he was looking in his diary, and he, you know, for the last couple of months. And he'd been busy making films. That's him.
All right.
He's on the history show. He's a lovely fella. He's a smasher. He's written a book as well. It's really good.
That's Jesus. You have full of celebrities there. So you have.
Yeah. Did I tell? Oh, you never told you this, have I?
What?
I get a phone call yesterday morning at 9:30, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lad named Ariotti. I said, hello. And he said, Frank, it's Ariotti. I said, where are you? Because I was taking it. I thought he was outside my door and I'm still in bed. And he said, I'm just walking down the street where I live in Auckland, New Zealand.
Oh, no way.
So I thought, oh, something's fucking wrong. But his voice was, it wasn't solemn or anything, It was
Yeah.
high. And he said, I've just been in the theatre, just come away from the theatre. He said, I was chock-a-block. I said, yeah. He said, John Bishop was on. He said, the comedian. And he went,
yeah.
And he said, he mentions you. I said, mate.
Again?
He said, yeah.
No.
Yeah, this is in New Zealand. He said, and when he finished, he said, he was hilarious, he was taking off you, he said. And I went around, he said, and I was saying to these people, I said, listen, can I see John Bishop? And you say, no. He said, no, it's about a fella he mentioned. He said, I know him personally. I was only in his house this year or last year, And anyway, let him in. He said, John, he said, Frank, he said, you mentioned him. He said, yeah, he's a great fella, great historian. And he said, I know him personally. He said, he said, yeah, he said, what a fella, But that was then, you know what I mean? So, and
23 hours of a flight and the other side of the world, and you've been mentioned in Auckland, New Zealand. And let me tell you, Auckland, New Zealand is an incredible country. I love New Zealand. I was there years and years back, and I don't know whether you've ever heard of Sky Tower.
Yes, of course, yeah.
I jumped off Sky Tower twice, and I'll tell you, I looked like a Power Ranger, but it was fantastic. I mean, the stuff I did in New Zealand, I wouldn't have done anywhere else in Europe or wherever. It's an incredible country.
Mate, I came from Christchurch. South
You were
Island.
saying that, yeah. I had friends living over in Christchurch, and I stayed over with a friend who lived in Hamilton, which is near enough to Auckland. But that's crazy.
It is. And only 10% of Dunedin, that area around Dunedin, the South Island, only 10% of population, because everything is mountainous and
a
that's
lot of green belts. It's twice the landmass of Ireland, and it's the same population.
Can I go through some of these?
You can. Sorry, I'm getting caught up there. Sorry.
Yeah. Trent, my guy, says, if you could pick two players, stay out of, say out of the three, who would you choose right now? I would go Trent and Van Dijk. What about Mo?
To stay out or to?
Yeah, if you could pick two players to stay out of the three, who would you choose right now? I would go Trent and Van Dijk. So is he going for Mo there? I don't know. Can you understand that question?
I can't really. Is he saying so out? So if you could pick only one out of the three to stay, who would you pick? Is that the question?
It could be that. And he's saying it's well, obviously he's saying but if you could pick two players to stay out of the three, so what he's saying is to stay at the club.
To stay.
That's but Mo
and Virgil.
Mo. No,
Mo and Virgil.
Yeah. Same here. Great show, Franco and King Enriino.
No, the Sean Eno sounds way better at IPR. Way better.
But wow, I don't know. I love Salah too much. He's irreplaceable. Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Absolutely, Trent. Maybe Marmoush can replace him down the line, but it's unlikely. He's only has one good season, that Marmoush, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
He's only had...
exactly.
Have a good lads up with the Redmen. You never walk alone. 3 points tomorrow. Thanks, Callum.
Exactly, Callum.
Yes. Yes. There's Darwin again. Genuine question. Why was it easy to give Henderson a 5-year contract? That's what we've said, Darwin. Honestly, we've said that, mate. You know, because he was finished then. Even Milner, you know, people that love him. I don't know why they loved him. His legs were gone. He was only coming on, like, say, half an hour to go to try and shore up the defence. He couldn't last a full game. And that was wrong because there was no one coming in to replace any of them until, you know, well, they had to be replaced, and they were replaced by Szoboszlai and, you know, Enzo and McAllister. So, and he carries on by saying, but apparently we have rules when it comes to Mohamed's age, who is performing at the highest level. Absolutely. He is
the level. He is the level. There is no level above him. There is no level. He sets the bar, and that's the level that everyone tries to strive for. There is no level above Mohamed Salah. None.
And there you have it. Even pundits say. Liverpool videos. My top artist this year is Liverpool fan Pete BOC. Who's he?
He's the guy that invented the Darwin Núñez song. And
do you guys know him?
Oh, Darwin Núñez. Yeah, it's I think I have followed him on TikTok, but yeah, seems to be a nice guy.
Listen to Welly, look, our Romanian friend. We want King Balotelli on the stream. Why always me?
That's funny.
Callum, I'm going to kick your head over to see you, Callum.
He
mentions Carrius. Oh, Charlie Adam, Kaiter, Carroll, Clevan, Flanagan. Oh, no, Lovren was all right, though, you know. Lovren was all right.
Yeah, but Lovren did say that we were the reason that we won the Premier League.
Did he?
He did, and the Champions League.
Go away.
With regards to Charlie Adam, I met him, I think it was with Stoke City. They had their Christmas party in the Marker Hotel in Dublin. And I just happened to be having a Christmas party in the exact hotel. And my work colleague came out to me, and he was 3 sheets to the wind. He said, come on, Sean, come on. Wait until I show you. And there's James McLean, Charlie Adams, and what's his face? Oh, the Northern Irish fella called him the Welsh Savvy.
Did he? Got Joe Allen.
Joe Allen.
Joe Allen. Fucking hell.
Joe. Charlie Adams was a dick. An absolute dick.
Fucking useless, him.
I said to James McLean, I said,
and you know what? They're called fucking legends.
Who?
And these are. Why do they call them legends? Because they're proper legends. The likes of Stephen.
I didn't call Charlie Adams a legend. I called James McLean a legend.
No, but LFC TV.
What?
Yeah, and of course, you see them standing on the sides of the pitch with the little mic and go, oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus, they must be calling everyone legends.
That's him.
No,
Anyway.
I remembered meeting up with James or saying hello to James McLean. I said, James, you're a legend. And Charlie Adams turns around and he looks at me. He says, why is he a legend? I says, because he plays Republic of Ireland. What are you talking about? Great player for Republic of Ireland. He was almost having an argument with me. Yeah, there you go. There's my story. It's not quite.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Just wanted to. Trent says it's the culture of this club. It's not special for us to be top. This team, these players are used to being top of the league and competing for every trophy, says Arne Slot. We say that ourselves.
Yeah.
Been saying it for years.
And that used to be, when someone used to say that, we were classed as glory hunters, go support City and whatever. There's a slot with that winning mentality.
Exactly. Callum, he's coming out with them all, isn't he? Paul Konchesky and Balotelli.
Oh.
Darwin says Ashley Young could play against the son Tyler in the FA Cup third round. Tie against Peterborough United.
That's nice.
Yeah, that would be first time ever that a father and son have played against each other. Did
Paul Ince and his son not play against each other?
Who?
Paul Ince and
he did, yeah.
His son play.
And his lads, yeah. Played against each other. Oh, you're right there. Callum says maybe Lovren said that because he's the owner of FXG. No.
Oh, God.
I'd be asked. They say they're all coming out with these mad players.
They're all coming out with them.
Sean Dunze, Christian Diouf, Shearer, Jean-Luc Ferrari. That was Houllier, Houllier brought all these jokes in. Well, especially Diouf, Shearer, Jean-Luc Ferrari.
Isn't Jean-Luc Ferrari dead, bless him?
I don't know. I thought it was a car. Jean-Luc Ferrari. Anyway, reminds you that Thiago's and Joe and Matip's wages are available for distribution along with the 40 million we made in the summer. Also, we kept James Milner until he was 137. Yes,
Cody
false 9.
This is what I was saying on AKM LFC last night. We were saying that, and we've been saying it for quite a while, and so is Frank.
Honestly, no excuses for failing with any of these contracts, not even Trent. Absolutely, lad. Absolutely false 9. And Callum Houllier has one too many beers signing them. No, we had too many bottles of French wine. Too many bottles of French red. I'm telling you. He used to be a teacher in the college I used to teach in.
Oh, was he? Oh, he was, wasn't he? Yeah.
And the Liverpool videos. Which fan base do you guys think is worse, Arsenal, United, or Chelsea? They're all bad. They all chant at us, and they're horrible.
I wouldn't forget. I wouldn't exclude City out of that. Totally.
No, not after last night.
No. I mean, Arsenal fans are dreadful. Dreadful. United fans, Chelsea are just, I mean, I've seen a few videos of them talking about their squad and whatever, and they're all over the shop. City have no fans, you're damn right.
No, they haven't. They're invisible. But anyway, Sean, listen, chat, thank you so much. It's been great. I've been on here now.
3 hours.
6 hours. Yeah.
Sweet stuff from Jesus.
Liverpool, yeah. 4-2. Yeah, Newcastle. Thank you. He's coming out with all these little
All the
things.
stats.
Yeah. Do you guys remember that amazing game? Yeah, of course we do. I was there. It's at Anfield. The 2-4-3s, 2
there's
seasons.
2-4-3s. Yeah.
Stan Collymore. Scoring the winner.
And then Kevin Keegan just slumped at the.
Just love him and Terry Mack. I love those two players.
Yeah.
Terry Mack, one of the greatest. Proper legend for Liverpool. Terry Mack. I hope for the same tomorrow, says the Liverpool videos.
Jesus, I don't want
to. Do you remember he hit the post 4 times in that game?
Was it Rudder?
Yeah, 2024, says Cal. And IBR, Arrivederci, Franco, and King Shawnino.
Now that's a little bit better. I could get used to the King Shawnino. I think that suits me much better now. I think. Thank you for that, IBR.
Now I meant New Year 2024. Yes. We created that 7.53 XG. That broke history for the most goals created when we beat them.
Sean the 8th.
Sean the 8th.
I'm actually now. Do you want to know something? I'm actually Sean the 2nd.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm actually Sean the 2nd. Junior.
Well, my daughter Francine is named after me. Is that all right?
There you go.
Yeah, look at the videos, the Liverpool video, Gapco and Curtis. My prediction for tomorrow. Listen, I'm finishing on that. Oh, my voice is gone.
Yeah, your voice is gone.
Yeah. Let's go. So hopefully, Sean, I'll see you tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, Frank. Absolutely. Hopefully with a win. And listen,
I'm
freezing myself, and the dogs are in the sitting room, which is why you can't hear them. And God knows what they've done to the sitting room. Because the last time I went in, the pillows or the cushions were all over the place. So
my ex got me a Doberman pincer, right?
Oh, right.
For my birthday. And I said, "What have you got me a dog for?" And anyway, I called it Lennon, after John.
I love it.
And as it got older and fucking bigger, it wouldn't let me in the house.
No.
It was lashing down once, parked the car, and I went to get, and I'm at the porch, and it was fucking, I said, "It's me." It wouldn't let me in. And I had to sit in the car until she came home. So, and like when she went upstairs, it used to just sit at the top of the fucking stairs, wouldn't let me up.
Jesus. That's mental, isn't it?
Oh, I was fucking terrible. I don't know what she was fucking doing to it, She used to take us out for a walk and everything. I don't know what she used to tell it. Oh, it was shocking, dog.
Well, it's funny you should mention.
Dog.
It's funny you should mention your birthday, because those 2 dogs I got for my mother's birthday. So
really,
they're my mother's dogs, yeah.
But honestly, it wouldn't let me up the stairs. Wouldn't let me out the fucking. That's terrible. I had to get rid of it. I had to get shut.
You've no choice.
It was in that kennel club. You know what I mean? Beautiful looking dog, but vicious to me.
You can't have that.
No one else used to play with it, And you know what? It got killed. They give it to our Angela, and it got killed.
Oh no!
Do you know what? It jumped over their gate, ran into the road, and a vet killed her.
You're serious?
Yeah, a vet. Anyway, Liverpool video 5-0. He says. Callum says, last goal we lost at St James's Park was Wijnaldum, 2015.
That's interesting.
He's on by saying, I'd love a 12-13 type 6-0 win.
Yeah. Let's see what happens, lads and ladies. I mean, we're in a good position. The confidence is high. There you go.
I'm finished.
Come on, Frank. Get yourself.
I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Thank you a lot, chat. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, and you get your comments read out. You really do. And we have a laugh.
We have a great laugh.
We become negative and everything else.
We're a little bit of negative and positive.
Look, we have cracked you, Frank. No, you haven't. Fucking go. Thank you, boys. Thank you, Callum. Happy birthday for Saturday, just in case I don't see you. Yes,
Callum. Happy birthday, mate.
I've got the pod tomorrow, the post-match, which is at 10 o'clock BST. And hopefully I'll see you as well. Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
See you tomorrow. Ciao.
Yeah.
Ci vediamo.